fans here at ground level at Victoria Park. Colleen Hewitt singing Wind Beneath My Wings. Plenty of tears in the crowd. Stand by for history. Richard Osborne's in the rooms with Tony Shaw. We'll hear his address shortly.
Okay, let's get ready. Come on, everybody, boots, and let's go. You right there, Licker? Okay. Ready? You right? Okay. All right, pretty important time, isn't it? All week I've been thinking about what we can come up with here, but I think one thing you need to know is about the history of Victoria Park, and it doesn't take long. You know, this club was built on a work ethic which, you know, has been the greatest at AFL level for a long period of time. You know, the thing is that the whole ethos of the group and the club has been built on integrity, on honesty, and a work ethic, like I said, which has been unmatched before. Victoria Park itself, in the history of Victoria Park, has meant that people, young athletes like yourself, thousands of them, have only had ambitions to represent Collingwood. And to me today, it's an opportunity for us to do that at the highest level again. You know, also the wider community of Collingwood is that, you know, we had a family sort of situation at this club where Collingwood was the family of this area. We had boundaries between Fitzroy, Richmond, Carlton, that no one wanted to cross to know that they were coming into Collingwood territory. And again, I say to you blokes, that family situation, you look at the names that have gone in past history, and it's just incredible. The Coventrys, the Colliers, the Richardsons, the Richards, you know, all those, the Toomeys. It's just been sensational. I pride myself on the fact that being part of the Shaw family, I was hopefully going to have some input to what happened with the history of this club. Now, individually, we have had some sensational players too that have brought people through the gates just to watch them. The Ron Todds, you don't even know these names, but it is the history of the club. You know, Ron Todd, we've had the Dacosses and the Mullanes of the modern era. We've had the Thompsons 5 times, you know, best and fairest and Brownlow medalists. This is what Collingwood's all about. And I say to you today, you've got a great opportunity here to stand up for the Collingwood of old, but bring it into the new era. The era stops today. We will not play another game at Victoria Park. And I say to you, you have been given the greatest honour of all time to represent your club today. I can see the other 22 or 23 blokes in the background then who would give a left arm to make sure that they could get out in that field today for us. But the one thing is, today the ghosts of the past cannot help on what we're trying to do today. They can't help us anymore, it is up to us. And I say I've had a lot of pride this year in watching you blokes put in a value-based principle at this club, which I think you have carried yourselves. And to me, for you to do that shows that you are maturing as a group and you will have success very quickly in the future. And I've had a great pride in watching that, boys. You have put in place measurements that you know if you reach, you will be successful on any given day. And we need to reach those measurements today to make sure that we are successful. I have had the proudest moments of my life. It has been an honour for me to coach you blokes. It has been an honour to have the support staff here. We are a professional unit. We are not far away from future success. I say to you, go out there today, play the game. Play the game and just know that there's 30,000 people out there, 30,000 people who would have loved to be in your position today. And it's so important that you know that. We as a club, the support that we get from out there, the spectators, is the one thing that the Victoria Park has been gone down in history of. It has been intimidation to come through the gates of Victoria Park to play Collingwood here. And today we need to reach that intimidation by physically putting it in place out in the field, boys. I say to you, I thank you for your cooperation over the period of time that I've coached you, but hey, it cannot help us. The past is past. We need now to build a future, and it starts today. I wish you all the best. I say, go out and enjoy it. And I tell you what, I've only enjoyed football one time, and that's when I've been a bloody winner as a player or as a coach, and that's what our aim is today. Let's get out there and have a go at it.
Describe what's happening. Describe what's happening.
Well, we're just seeing Shorey speak. Words said it all. Just reiterated the passion of the club. All the legends, past and present. He's obviously said to the boys, a win, the only thing that can do. So we're just waiting for the boys to come out now.
Start our own history here, that's what we're going to do. Start your own. Put it down. Let's go back. Come on, Davo. Go to that. Go, Davo.
Let's go back. One to go. Wait up. Wait up. Wait up. Let the players come through. Come on. Wait. Tangle. One more. Come on, short up. Yeah. Go.
And through the biggest banner ever in the history of VFL AFL football, what an atmosphere as the crowd is chanting and cheering. They heard Tony Shaw's speech from the rooms live at the ground, and everyone is so pumped, Mick, I want to have a kick myself.
Yeah, well, it's just an amazing emotional feeling here. Drew, you look at the players running around the ground. Last time they'll do it, and you can sort of sense it from up here in the commentary box. The players will be ready to compete. Shawry's tried to steal their minds to the immediate contest. That's what it's all about. You look at the faces of the Brisbane Lions players as they come onto the ground now. They'll be ready, knowing it's slippery conditions. They'll have to play a straight bat early. At the end of the day, it's got to come back to the team that's most committed at the contest. They've got to win the footy because the ball today, because of the conditions. Have a listen to the supporters of Collingwood. They're booing Brisbane Lions as they come out to the ground today. But all in all, they're players that are committed. Win that loose footy. The ball will be on the ground a lot. That'll be in the mind of the players as they walk around the arena. But this is just an emotional day. A magnificent day for everybody who's involved. Players, supporters, there's the team having a team photo. They're last at Victoria Park. The coaching staff there, David Wheaton, Tony Shaw, Danny Frawley in the middle of the playing group. And you can just see by the looks in the eyes, the steely lined approach. That's what the players have got to have today, because at the end of the day, they're still representing the Collingwood Football Club. There's Eddie Maguire. What a magnificent job he's done in his development, in planning, and getting this day to be a success. There's Shaw, his last game at Victoria Park, as coach, as player. Look at Buckley's eyes. He's ready to compete. Mark Richardson down the back. Need a lot of work from him in the centre part of the ground. But all in all, this is a magnificent day. Represent the club with dignity, represent it with pride, represent it with honour, and that's what these players will certainly do today.
Well, Mick, talk about throwing the Christians to the Lions. I think today it is throwing the Lions to the Pies. Imagine playing at Victoria Park. If you're a visiting side, for 107 years it has been a nightmare. But Brisbane come here having won 7 games on the trot, and they're third on the ladder, playing Collingwood, who are last. And if Collingwood lose today, they'll win just their second wooden spoon in over 100 years.
Yeah, well, that's probably the disappointing scenario. That's the realism of the situation. But at the end of the day, Collingwood, they will commit themselves, they will compete to their best of ability. They know this is a very good team. That's the realism and that's logical. But at the end of the day, Tony Shaw has asked his players for a special effort. All he's known, the winning side of the game, is that's what the enjoyment's about. That's when you have celebration. That's when you have fun. At the end of the day, these players, 22 of them, they'll be committed because they know the jumper they're representing.
So that is game day today, a Saturday special from Victoria Park. We certainly hope you've enjoyed it. Viewers in Melbourne and Brisbane will see the game live. We'll be back here in a few minutes for Collingwood playing Brisbane, the last time ever at Victoria Park. The last time as an AFL venue, after 107 years, it hosts its final home and away game. Today it is Collingwood against the Brisbane Lions as part of round 22, the last round before the finals. We had an upset last night when Richmond won't be in the finals, beat Carlton who will, and will we get an upset today? For Collingwood on the bottom of the ladder, playing the Brisbane Lions who are third, having won 7 matches in a row. Other matches being played today as part of round 22. It's Essendon and Melbourne at the MCG, and at Optus Oval, the Western Bulldogs taking on Port Adelaide. A chance to welcome this afternoon mighty Mick McGuan, premiership player for Collingwood in 1990. What a day we've had here already.
Yeah, magnificent day, Drew, and I can just feel the emotion starting to bubble into the commentary box. I'm ready to compete.
Yeah.
No doubt the players would be. But there's the ladder. Brisbane Lions third, playing Collingwood 16th. Brisbane have to win today to assure themselves a home final. That's the effort they'll be trying to put in. Collingwood maybe salvage some pride.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
And Collingwood will be hoping that the emotion carries them over the line today. They win and Fremantle lose tomorrow for Collingwood to get off the bottom of the ladder and avoid their second only wooden spoon in over 100 years. We'll be back for the start of the game shortly. Welcome back to Victoria Park on this historic day. It's going to seem like a final when they play the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the national anthem to be performed by Colleen Hewitt.
Australians, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strain, then let us sing, advance Australia.
Good on you, Colleen. One of the best renditions of Advance Australia Fair I've ever heard of, and especially with the Go Pies at the end, because she is a committed Pies fan. Richard Osmond are down at ground level.
Well, Drew, I do know one thing. I don't know who's going to win, lose or draw this game, but the crowd are about to erupt. I think everything that's going to happen on the ground, we'll know about it, because there's probably 400 or 500 Brisbane Lions supporters and the rest are mighty black and white. So you can just sense it. It's going to be something special. Enjoy, everybody.
Michael Voss and Nathan Buckley to toss the coin. Of course, Nathan Buckley himself was a Brisbane player for a year before he came to Collingwood, and he's won 3 Copeland trophies and an absolute certainty to win his 4th this year. Peter Carey there with the coin. And Peter Carey, who bows out of AFL football at the end of this season after capping his career with that chest mark over in Perth a few weeks ago. First points to the Brisbane Lions as Michael Voss wins the toss, and the Lions will go right to left in the first quarter. Well, already we had Mick McGuan with us, and how fitting. But what about Peter McKenna, one of the great legends at Collingwood, and here he is to join us in commentary today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Drew, and good afternoon to you too, Mick. And just watching Eddie Maguire, he's down on the boundary line. He's orchestrating the crowd. It's a wonderful atmosphere. There he is. He's been, look at him, orchestrating the crowd. And he is so passionate. Colleen Hewitt, who sang the national anthem, as you said, is so passionate for the Magpies. And there's a terrific build-up and a terrific scenario for the boat. And there's probably the greatest player that ever put on a black and white jumper. He was my coach for nearly all my career, Bobby Rose. all the old-timers say he was the greatest player ever that wore the black and white.
Yes, they say one of the best players ever not to win the Brownlow. He finished second in a Brownlow. And, of course, he coached Collingwood the year they were beaten by a point by St Kilda in the '66 Grand Final. Something new for us. Advertising over the top of the crowd in the outer. Peter Carey, I reckon his heart would be bumping too. He's been around tossing the ball into the ground for years, but this is a big occasion.
I spoke to him before, Drew, and he is really, really pumped up. And he admitted to me he was a Collingwood supporter. So we look at the bell ringer.
Well, that's something from the past as we get underway with the ringing of a bell. Peter Carey gets us underway, Keating up high for Brisbane, and he gets the visitors going forward. Oh, high tackle, and Luke Power will take the free. Chris Siska hit him pretty hard round the neck. Power takes the free kick quickly, inside the 50. Lynch, the ball skimmed on wet ground. Lynch close to the line, and taken over the line in an aggressive tackle by Prestigiacomo.
Already some interesting matchups. Andrew Swartwell's got the job on Jaron Malloy at full back. Lynch is being picked up by Prestigiacomo, and Johnson, who's been a dangerous player for the Lions over the last couple of weeks. Scott Burns has got that job.
Well, there's Batheris at half back, gets it to Licuria. Around the boundary line it comes, and Lappin takes it over, but it's just outside 50 for Brisbane. They'll be pumped up too. And we've got the Collingwood bench, Aussie.
Yes, Orchard, Davis, Crow and Scotland.
Thank you, Richard. There's the ball kicked by Mark Richardson. Ackermanis, centre of the ground. He's a very clever player. He's got it. Ackermanis on the left. In towards half forward. Licuria waits at the back. Lynch tries to thump it on. He just missed it. It's at half back. It's kicked away, and that was by Tyson Lane. He's kicked it straight in the hands of Chris Johnson. And Johnson's outside 50. He's about 60 metres out. He's going to bomb it long. He's gone for the torpedo punt. He's got onto it. Lynch at the back, but Mark Richardson flicks it over the back, over the line, a metre away from the behind post. And Richard Osborne is down there with the Brisbane bench.
Brad Scott, Clark, Lambert and Sean Hart and Macca. You can tell already the Collingwood boys are pumped. They've got nothing else to play for except 4 quarters of football. They're going for it.
Here's a chance for Power. They go off the ground. Either Power or McRae got the goal.
Yeah,
First goal.
McRae was the player that actually kicked the footy off the ground, Drew. And that's all you got to do in wet conditions. Play a straight bat early, get the ball forward. Doesn't matter how, whether it be by hand or be foot by foot. But on this occasion, good ruck work there by Keating. He got first purchase of the footy. Buckley desperate in his attempt to nullify Power, win possession. But McRae was there. Weighted numbers favoured the Brisbane Lions on that occasion. And he dribbled the ball across the goal line to kick the first for the game, the first for the Brisbane Lions.
Well, Craig McRae is their leading goal kicker for the season. That's his 37th. They're the highest scoring team in the competition, and their leading goal kicker has just 37. They do spread it around. Keating in the middle, gets the ball down. Hard for Lappin, gets the ball back to Keating. A bit of a fumble. Eventually Ackermanis out of the middle. His kick bounces on. Johnson taps for Voss. Voss off the right, a wobbly old kick. Malloy is there. Under pressure. Schwabel gets back to Buckley, covering ground outside the 50 with his kick. Oh, he had to wait, and Voss came late, but Olorenshaw took the mark on the defensive 50 for the Pies. Breeze going Brisbane's way, but mostly across the ground, and a light drizzle coming from across the city. We've had a lot of rain in Melbourne over the last couple of days, and it's pretty wet underfoot. Ricky Olorenshaw. Few games this year for Collingwood in his first year after a premiership with Essendon. Ball underfoot. The Lions doing most of the attacking. Comes out to Huskis. He pokes it up short. Beautiful delivery. And Michael Voss has it 45 metres from goal.
Yeah, what a terrific player Voss is. He just knows when to push forward. He started in the midfield part of the ground. Batheris looks like he's being his opponent for the day at this stage. Also some other interesting matchups. We see Tarkin Lockie has got the job on Ashcroft. Interesting to see Power started across half forward. Looks like they're going to use Buckley across half back. He'll try to overplay that situation as much as possible.
Oh, Voss miskicks it. It drops 10 metres short, front of the pack. McRae gets his second. Wonderful goal.
You can get it dipping. You can get it chipping. You can get it having a row. hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter. You can get it lumping. You can get it thumping. You can get it any old how. Matter of fact, I got it now. Victoria Bitter.
Great start to Brisbane. A terrific start. As we see Keating, there's Lockyer, was caught. The Collingwood crowd calling for too high, but the umpire having none of that. It really is a good start. 2 goals to Craig McRae. Very, very slight breeze. There's Tony Shaw. We heard his speech before the game. Very, very passionate. Black gets it to Lappin. Danger again. Lynch. He's got some support down there. Malloy was caught high. And Malloy again. Malloy! He's hit the post. Oh, gee, Mick. Brisbane already looking very, very dangerous.
Yeah, a terrific start. Just the start they need. They've got to try to curb the influence of the crowd. As I know, and you know, Pete, Collingwood supporters, they tend to get very vocal. To stop them getting involved in the game is to kick some early goals, and that's what the Lions have certainly done.
Oh, it's hard to get footing as Lane kicks out. Richardson palms the ball down. Buckley in front of the pack, leaves it for Crow. The hand pass comes out wide to Krasiska, up towards centre wing, hitting the ball hard, Lawrence, beautiful disposal, and Craig McRae, has he been damaging early with the only 2 goals of the game. Deep inside 50, Malloy, caught in a good tackle! Ball spills to Krasiska. Buckley trying to get it out. Collingwood desperate. They've been defending since the bell rang to start the game. Knocked up by Keating. Black in over the ball, and the umpire calls for it and will ball it up.
And Drew, from that passage of play, you can already see it's not going to be the first player at the contest that'll win possession. They'll be fumbling, very slippery ball, hard to pick up, so that's got to motivate the players to push to the contest and create numbers there to favour your team.
Keating, a lovely hit out, but it went straight to Buckley. Still Keating knocking on. Brisbane with numbers round the ball. Notting gets it to Ashcroft, but they've got numbers all right. This is Black onto the left foot, centres the ball. Lynch, he waits in the goal square, and he judged that magnificently and hit him right in the chest. But that was just great judgment. Yeah,
no doubt about that, Pete. You called it right. Young Black, what a terrific season he's had. Probably should have kicked the ball a little bit better. Bad judgment there by Preston Giacomo. Superior judgment by Lynch. But already they're ominous signs, because the Brisbane Lions are pushing hard to the contest, certainly getting more numbers at the fall of the footy than what the Collingwood team is. They are under pressure.
So Alistair Lynch from directly in front for Brisbane's third. It hasn't been up Collingwood's forward end as yet. And Lynch pops it through.
It can happen at any time. You're building a bridge or moving a fridge and you feel like you're just gonna burst. You sure got a thirst. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. You're shoveling sand or building a dam. You can get it any old how. Matter of fact, I got it now. Victoria Bitter.
Back in the middle, and Collingwood trying to get it forward of the centre for the first time. Keating wins in the middle. Krasiska's back there. Veteran from the premiership side. Olarentshaw's hand pass, very disappointing. Goes astray. Nodding up to full forward. Lynch juggles. Hit the ball very hard, Alistair Lynch. Oh, it's flipped out. Lappin. Slight fumble at ground level. Black goes backwards. Oh, Brisbane out here. Ashcroft. Great evasive skills. Johnson shepherds. The ball bounces for a behind.
Yeah, and there's that backwards handball, Drew. Wet footy, under pressure, you can't afford to think defend. And by that I mean by handballing it backwards. If it misses the target, the weighted numbers from the opposition, they control the footy. On that occasion, a turnover was created and nearly a goal scored through Ashcroft.
Lockyer has kicked into Buckley. Buckley's kicked wide. Mark Richardson has marked. He's way out of half back. The Collingwood faithful roaring for it to get forward. He's kicked it to a pack. Darryl White. Oh, geez, got good hands. He is probably the cleanest mark going around. They've got men running everywhere. Lepich has run from full back down the forward line, but White's gone across to Huskus. He can go to Chris Scott. He can go across to Kennedy. Will he? Yes. No, he's not. He's looking for Notting. Notting, 6 goals last week. Gee, they're looking good, Brisbane. Notting is marked. Way out on centre wing, he kicks long in towards half-forward. Keating was bundled out of it. Mark taken by Scotty Burns.
Burns kicks out wide. He's looking for the boundary line more than anything. He's got Lane as the only hope. Lappin beats him and kicks it in. Lappin's kick inside the 50. Lynch. Oh, great spoil, Prestigiacomo, and the ball out of play.
And get back to that marking contest just with Scott Burns. Terrific work there by Mark Richardson off the footy. He got Keating, his opponent, out of the marking contest. Burns took an easy mark. Unbelievable statistics. Inside 50, 10 Brisbane Lions. Collingwood yet to enter that part of the ground.
That could have said inside a half rather than 50. I'm sure Collingwood haven't advanced forward of the centre circle. 20-0. And haven't Brisbane started well. Mind you, they've been flogging great sides for the last couple of months. They've won their last 7. They beat the West Coast by 100. Beat Freo by 74. The ball worked towards the line and in the back. Power will take the free kick for Brisbane.
Yeah, free kick there to Luke Power. Yeah, sloppy work there by Tarkin Lockyer, who was second to the footy. But you've got to control yourself in giving away an undisciplined free kick like that. Could prove costly.
Only 35 metres out, but it's left and stays left all the way. And a behind to Luke Power.
And some interesting matchups in Collingwood's forward 50-metre area. Looks like Darryl White's got the job on Mal Michael. Chris Scott's got the job on Gavin Brown, who's been very good for Collingwood this year. Lepich is picking up Tarrant now. He did start on A. Rocker. And Anthony Rocker's from the goal square. He's been matched up by Matthew Kennedy.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on these young Collingwood players. Brisbane are a top side. Been a lot of hype and promotion of this game. Shawball, he couldn't mark. Neither did Richardson. It's at half forward, way out at half forward for Brisbane. A terrific start. 21 plays nil, but inside 50s 10 or 11 to nil. And they're just proving what a good side they are. One of the premiership favourites. Keating has been terrific in recent weeks. There's Lappin. Everywhere you look in this Brisbane side, they've got enormous talent. There's Stephen Lawrence. I played against his father, Barry. Barry will be up on the Gold Coast. One of the best players I've played against and one of the toughest. And his son's a chip off the old block. He's got plenty of that in him too.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Lawrence does certainly run straight, Pete. But now Buckley's moved back into the midfield. He's picking up Ashcroft. Ashcroft started the game on Lockyer. It's been a straight swap. Lockyer's gone back to half-back, picking up Luke Power.
Interesting free kick against Mark Richardson there.
Keating has been a great player.
He just gives him first access to the footy, Pete. Jumps hard into the contest, especially the ruck contest. Gets the ball forward.
Darryl White with plenty of distance. Up very high. Prestigiacomo to the front. Voss gets it across to Power. He spirals it up to Malloy. Gets rid of his opponent illegally. Collingwood free kick. Taken quickly. They work it out of defence. Have they been defending the Pies? It comes to Tyson Lane, just outside 50. Good chase by Johnson. Great discipline by the Lions. Buckley cornered by Ashcroft. And they've gone forward to the wing for the first time. Drop mark by Brisbane. The ball at ground level. Tarrant works well. Tackling by Scott. Fantastic stuff. Bathurst the hand pass back. And Williams turned it over. It comes to White. Spirals it inside the 50. And Brisbane back to where they've been so often in this game. Shawball looks for the line, but kicked it too hard.
Yeah, free kick actually coming back to Schwabel, though. It's been given for in the back against Malloy. And Andrew Schwabel's got to realise, wet footy, you can't afford to give the ball too much height when you're under pressure like that. You're better off getting the ball on the ground, skidding across the boundary line. Just play the percentages a little bit better.
Yeah, dead right, Mickey. Should have been going low. Oh, poor kick. Terrible kick, Shawball.
And that's his problem. Kicks off one step too often. He should be told, and that should be addressed, because that is a downside of his game. Over the last 3 weeks, he's been a little bit better in basically defending, but his use of the ball coming out of the defence just isn't good enough at times. Have a look at this.
Unfortunately,
one step, leaning back, wet footy, low percentage, it'll never find targets.
Yeah, poor kick, and it's gone straight to a guy who's got terrific skills. Lappin, Nigel Lappin. He might play Collingwood pay here. That's a beautiful kick at goal. It's just drifted away and missed to the left.
Pete, you look at those trees just behind the goals there to our left. It certainly is a right to left breeze. a couple of kicks have gone to the left-hand post. You just certainly have to allow to that pocket, don't you?
Well, when I look at those trees, I'm amazed there's no one up there, Mickey.
There might be a few monkeys.
No, he's in the, he played in the reserves yesterday.
Oh, golly, Lakiria's taken too long to kick it in. It's been taken off him.
Gee, that's gutsy umpiring by Peter Carey, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Peter's last game, or last season, no doubt he's trying to make his point on the game. Have a listen to the Collingwood supporters.
Well, he must have walked him.
And they will get agitated unless Collingwood get an early score.
Get an armoured car for the umpires as they leave the ground. Ola Renshaw, Prestigiacomo dropped it. The Brisbane putting pressure on all over the place. Shawble, a hurried kick, gets it to the 50. But hasn't got it far enough out. Notting unloads a big one and goals.
Vehicle hit wall square off.
Off the boot, doesn't reach path.
Well, a great start to Brisbane, and just what Collingwood didn't want. Brisbane playing superb football, 4-4. They should be a lot further in front. There's Keating getting first hands again. There's Lappin, the boss, a bit of talent there. Lappin and Boss. Half forward is punched away from Notting. Here's Target Lockyer. Buckley to half forward. Lawrence races back, puts some pressure on him, goes for the punch. It's on centre wing. Lockyer again. Here's Stephen Lawrence. Back to Acklamanis. Gee, there's some talent in this side. A great kick in towards Black. Black onto the right foot, brings it in towards full forward. He's looking for Lynch. Lynch couldn't mark. Burns. Back it comes to Shawble. Shawble. Who can he find? He can find Ola Renshaw, and he finds him at half-back.
Gee, the patrons in the Sherrin stand and the Bob Rose stand have hardly seen any action. Here's Gavin Brown, pushed in the back. The former captain, who has been fantastic this year. Veteran status now, of course. Buckley high. Can't quite complete the one-hander. At ground level, Buckley applies the tackle. Ball stays in. Umpire will ball it up.
And it's still been 13 entries into their forward 50. Collingwood are yet to break the ice. That would be concerning coach Tony Shaw.
So from the ball up, it comes to Williams. He balks the hand pass. He probably should have given it. Eventually he does. Patheris, too high for Patterson. They're on the 50 for the first time, Collingwood. Tarrant does well. Concedes some ground. Back to Rupert Patheris. Hurried kick for Brown. It bounces through. Anthony Rocker with absolute ferocity. Rocker bounces it through, but it was touched on the line by Kennedy. No goal. A minor score for Collingwood. They've got a point, but it's taken them a long time getting it.
And at least one thing, Drew, it's got the crowd involved. You can just tell for the majority of these Collingwood players, except the ones that were in the 1990 Premiership, this would be the biggest occasion of their football career. There's obvious nerves out there, but they just need to kick a goal and they'll settle.
Justin Leppich kicks in. He's probably the best fullback in the competition this year. Simon Black ridden into the ground. Umpire said no. Half forward it is with Krasiska. Here's Paul Williams. He's surrounded by Brisbane Lions players. Schuster's calling for a free kick, and he's going to get it against Williams holding the ball.
Yeah, Paul Williams gathered the footy in underneath him. That's the reason why the free kick was given. Watch his right arm, tuck it back underneath him. There's the prior opportunity, if you'd call it that. Hard decision. Difficult day for players to pick up the ball at ground level and get it clear.
Matthew Kennedy, a long kick. Centre wing. It's given up to Burns. Burns, a hurry kick to centre wing. It was a wobbly one. Buckley working hard. Prescott's after him, has forced over the line.
Yeah, Collingwood certainly have to do something in their structure, I believe. Maybe it's time for Scott Burns or maybe Gavin Brown just for 5 minutes to push to midfield. Just some hardness. Because at the moment, the Brisbane team were a little bit harder, picking up too much of the loose footy at ground level.
Round the boundary line, Brisbane back to centre wing. Ola Renshaw can't keep it in. And we'll have a throw in, the outer side.
I think that's a pertinent point, Drew, because at the moment, Brisbane Lions, Voss, Simon Black, Ashcroft, they're just getting too much clearances around these stoppages. Collingwood needs some more body players because the ball's going to be on the deck a fair amount of the time. There's another example.
Krasiska tried to go off the ground. He's bowled over. And it's a Brisbane free kick, is it?
No, going to Gavin Krasiska in the back off the footy.
Just as well. The way the crowd hooted, I thought, don't tell me it's gone against him. Krasiska up towards the 50. Tarrant, good boy. He's a long way out. This would need to be a career best kick. So he puts it up short. Rocker! Thanks for coming, Anthony!
to go back, steal his mind. He was involved in a good contest before that kept the footy in the Collingwood forward 50 area. Look at that for a jump and leap and mark. Good stuff by Anthony Rocker. Now you've got to do what forwards are capable of doing. Go back, kick a goal. Last week he had a shocker. Half kicked it on a couple of occasions. Probably cost Collingwood a chance of winning that game. He'd be aware of the situation. He'd know the ground well. Kick it low, kick it flat, underneath the grandstand. More importantly, you just got to kick the ball with a fair amount of penetration into the wind.
His shot is Collingwood's first goal. Brilliant kick by Rocker.
Tonight, a stunning world around.
Well, things were looking very, very gloomy, but Anthony Rocker has lifted the Collingwood crowd, and that will help. Here's Lappin, a very highly skilled player. Boss caught it, was caught high. In towards half forward, punched away by Lane. Brisbane have the numbers. Here's Power. The eye kept it in brilliantly to Ashcroft. Umpire saying it was scooped. It was thrown. He must have played the throw.
He called it a scoop back.
Oh, a bit stiff. Lockyer. Buckley. And Buckley takes a good mark. Centre wing. What they need now, the Magpies, another quick one. A low trajectory kick. Turret. Couldn't mark. Shawball. It's a free kick.
How did the Collingwood Social Club?
Whoa.
People jumping out of seats, pointing to the umpire. That is a very game umpire to give a decision like that in front of that crowd, as you know, Paul.
Oh, they're baying for blood down there, Mickey, that Collingwood Social Club.
Pretty soft free kick.
Yeah, it was. Chris Scott, Keating, he impresses me a lot, this guy. And when he gets tired, they can bring Matthew Clark on. So they're very, very well off in the big man department. That's a good kick. That's a terrific kick by Keating out in front. And Licuria had no hope of stopping Notting. Notting's going to kick to Lynch, who's one-on-one. Lynch, front position. Lynch! Oh, that is great forward play. That is top forward play. In front and use your body.
Yeah, very good point, Pete. Remember Alistair Lynch playing for Fitzroy. Collingwood played at Princes Park in those days, now Optus Oval. Lynch kicked 7 goals. Similar conditions today. Plays in front, played the percentages. Ronnie McEwen was his opponent that day. He had to readjust, play in front of Lynch. Maybe Presta Giacomo has to learn from that lesson also.
For goal number 5, he's judged the wind of perfection. That's right through the middle.
That's
Monday, 7:30.
Oh, well, I guess you won't say it's injustice, Phil.
Really? Ball back in the centre. 5 goals to 1. Richardson wins in the middle, but Voss takes it away from Brisbane. Krasiska to Buckley. Good running by Burns. Kick by Burns to centre half forward. Lepage! Oh, Tarrant over the top. That comes to the front. Good hand pass by Freeborn. Comes back to Patterson. Rocker contests. It flips out to Williams. He's a chance. 35 out. Paul Williams. Didn't have the legs on it. And marked by Kennedy in the goal square. Just under 4 minutes remaining to quarter time. Aussie, how much of it is the scoring end at the left-hand end?
I think, Drew, we saw from that last kick from Paul Williams how strong this breeze really is. It's at least a 3-goal breeze going to the end. The Brisbane Lions are kicking.
Ashcroft. Back it comes to Black. Centre of the ground. It's a loose ball with Johnson. But it was loose for about a split second, and then the Hordes came in and caught him as Paul Licuria. But that Collingwood defence is under enormous pressure as Brisbane, with their superior skill, belted forward. The umpire signalling he's going to throw it. Look at Keating. He's dominating the rucks, Keating. Look at that. That was terrific play. Centre of the ground, Ashcroft has had a very, very good year. Here's McRae. He's kicked 2 goals. Johnson, he runs away. Lynch is one out again with Presta Giacomo. Here's Lynch. He's got it. He'll look for the short one. He's going to hook it back in front of goal. Johnson. Malloy. He drops it. Still Malloy. Still Malloy. Still Malloy. Look at this. Best goals you would ever see in a million years.
No doubt about that. Absolute courage personified. The footy was in the air a long time, Pete. Great call.
He was the one to get caught, me.
He was the one that charged from the goal square. He committed himself alongside Krasiska for Collingwood. Both players collected each other fairly solid. But what's the recovery for a big man? Ball, balanced, magnificent stuff. Paul Williams missed the body, should have went to tackle low at the hips of his opponent, Malloy. He sidestepped him, waltzed into an open goal. No doubt this is a promising team.
And has Gavin Francisco felt that? Oh, he was cleaned up by a Mack truck. Richardson out of the middle to Williams, off the side of the boot, wide out in front of the Social Club stand. Here's Lepich in front, working along the line, but then overruns it. Tarrant, good persistence. Michael, play on, says the umpire. The Collingwood fans want a free. Darryl White was good. Power, the hand pass in. Black, just outside 50, Johnson. And the hand pass back to Lane, now to Buckley. Half distance pass to Williams. Paul Williams off and running, gets around Lepich. Good kick. Oh, great kick. Ola Renshaw outside of centre half forward. 2 kicks to goal from there into this breeze. Ricky Ola Renshaw now deep inside the 50. It gets to the back. Rocker just 30 metres out. Now 40 out. The hand pass back. Here's a chance for Batheris. Offline, and it is holding up, no doubt. Kennedy a mark.
Kennedy, a long kick, a great kick. Their skill level, Brisbane is very, very good. Power. Oh, dangerous kick. Buckley could have marked. He went the punch instead. Maybe should have marked. Lepich on to Lawrence. The kick was poor, but the umpires paid the mark. It's been taken by Johnson. Everywhere you look in this Brisbane side, there's enormous talent. Williams, oh, pushing the back. Oh, he's lucky to get away with that, Paul Williams.
Yeah, a little bit of a touch it looked like, but Paul Williams kept his composure. He's one player that really have to get into this game. Already he's had 3 kicks.
Michael, what a mark. Under extreme pressure from Chris Scott. Michael wants to play on, but he's over the mark. And the fans are chucking their black and white scarves. And Michael now made to come back behind the mark. And that's held up the side as he wanted to make a quick break. Recruited into AFL football from Papua New Guinea.
Short kick maybe to Gavin Brown.
Michael goes for a bit of distance. It is holding up going to that end. Rocker crunches the pack. It comes out to Shawble, who's been moved forward. The ball out of play right in front of the Social Club stand. And the crowd getting their money's worth. It's an all-ticket affair, but they're hooting and booing.
And Gavin Krasiska's just been removed from the ground, no doubt feeling the ill effects of that contest with Malloy, but he is tough. He'll come back on. Scott Crowe gets his first run for the day.
Yeah, Mick, it looked like he was holding his left hamstring too, so I'll keep you up to date with that.
Well on, Aussie.
Well, let's hope it's not a hamstring, because that would be a sad way to win the year for Gavin Krasiska.
Well, he's had a history of lower back problem. There he is pointing probably to where the contest was. But let's hope it's not a hamstring.
Well, they're a rotten injury too. You never know when you got them right. You think you can come back on, and well, they're normally a couple of weeks' job for sure. But it's the last game for this year for Gavin.
Backward handball again, Pete. Created a turnover.
Lappin. Mark Richardson is marked centre wing. He wants to play on quickly. He's going short. Oh, he set it up. But a mark taken by Shawble. Here's Lane. He ran into a brick wall. They've got numbers here, Brisbane. Oh, look at this, loose men everywhere. Johnson will receive from Eustace. He can have a shot for goal, or he can go over the siren and gone. That was bad luck to Brisbane. They had loose men everywhere running towards goal. But Mick McGuire, a brilliant quarter by Brisbane. That's all you could say.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Magnificent quarter to lead by 33 points against the emotion, against Collingwood's efforts to make their last game at Victoria Park a memorable one. The credit must be given to this Brisbane Lions team. They certainly attacked the body. They got numbers at the contest, knowing that today you have to play the percentages, keep it simple. And I think that's one thing they certainly did in that first quarter. They certainly controlled the ball more than what the Collingwood team did. 55 kicks, only 15 handballs. They didn't want to handle the footy so much, didn't want to create mistakes, whereas Collingwood, on the other hand, merely because they were under pressure, 42 kicks, 31 handballs. No doubt Tony Shaw will address that in his quarter-time address.
Well, Lee Matthews worked miracles for Collingwood and got them out of their premiership drought in 1990. But today he's coaching the opposition, and Brisbane have flogged them in the first quarter, 6-4 to 1-1.
Final here at Northport Oval. Frankston 2 straight, 12. Springvale 6 behind. We'll be back to listen to the coaches shortly, but Bev, a remarkable opening term here in the start of the VFL finals.
Collingwood and Brisbane. Collingwood 1 goal, 1-7. Anthony Rocker with the single goal kicker for the Pies. Brisbane very quick out of their starting blocks. Craig McRae has 2, as does Alistair Lynch, Tim Notting and Jared Malloy, 1 each of Brisbane's 6 goals for 40. To the MCG, where Melbourne has come out firing. David Neitz has 2, a couple of other single goal kickers there for Essendon. Stephen Alessio has 2 and Dean Rioli has 1. Western Bulldogs 2 goals to 14. Port Adelaide with just 3 behinds in their match of the day. Results now from the first 4 races on the card.
Hash brown. Oh yeah, it's going to...
A grey, cold, overcast day, intimidating for the visitors, but didn't Brisbane enjoy it in the first quarter. First use of the breeze, 10 scoring shots to 2, 6-4 to 1 goal 1. But it'll be interesting to see at half-time whether Collingwood and the breeze bring them back. Quarter time in our other 2 games being played today. 2 finalists, the Western Bulldogs and Port Adelaide. The Dogs 2-2, Port 3 behinds. And top Essendon playing 14th Melbourne. And look at the Demons, 7-2 to 3-2 over Kevin Sheedy's mob. Richard Osborne.
Well, Shorey was very open with his quarter-time speech. He implored his players to settle down. Obviously, there's a lot of nerves there. He was absolutely savage on the way they were getting flogged out of the centre. There's no doubt he said, we need to settle this game down before half-time. We can't afford to blow it out anymore. It was long and direct, straight down the middle. The breeze is very strong, so let's hope they can get back into it. The crowd are just waiting for it.
So we start the second quarter. Keating dominating in the ruck, gets the ball down to Ashcroft. His kick across the ground. It's to the defensive side. Lane whips it away from Johnson, and the ball to the safety of the boundary line.
Mick, that is where it's starting. Keating really did dominate, as Drew said, that first term.
And we mentioned in the first quarter also maybe Burns or Gavin Brown should go into that part of the ground. Burns is the player that's gone there to create a bit of hardness and win some footy when it's loose.
Keating again with his hand to it. Black at ground level, fighting hard for it. And a ball up. Right in front of the Social Club. By gee, they'll take the heat out of the after-match celebrations if they get absolutely belted here today. Aussie.
Yeah, the bench for Collingwood. Davis, Lockyer, Crow and Gavin Francisco, who tried to run at quarter time, and still looks a little bit problem.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Gavin. There's Burns, as Mickey McGuan said, has moved to midfield, so his toughness and Aussie, the Brisbane bench.
Brad Scott, Matthew Clark, Craig Lambert and Sean Hart.
Well, it's a pretty good bench when you think about it. If they get a couple of injuries, you can bring those blokes on. There's Batheris, a long driving kick. Scott couldn't hang on to it. Akamana's had a fantastic year. A little bit of Robert Harvey type stuff there. There's Keating. Oh, good mark. Richardson, short kick. Good kick. Oliver Inshaw breaks away. Kicks long to the forward line. Rocker! Used his body beautifully to get rid of Kennedy. Kennedy screaming at Peter Gary that he should have got a free kick, but what do you think, Mick?
No, certainly terrific body work there by Anthony Rocker, who alerted himself to the ball in flight. Good judgment, pushed his body against Kennedy's, opened up the space for him to take an easy chest mark.
Oh, Anthony Rocker playing at full forward, kicking every second. These are the ones you've got to nail early in the game. Put a bit of scoreboard pressure on. Oh, he's out to the right. Don't tell me he's kicked out in the full. No, he's just snuck it in from behind. But he missed 2 last week from 15 metres where he hit the post. And quality forwards have to kick those.
Pete, just watching his technique, he really lifts the footy high as he brings it down to his leg. And because he does that, his back goes back. Just not his back on his foot on the kick so often.
I think during the summer he's got to really work on his kicking, as we see Ola Renshaw in towards half forward. Chris Scott races back to that is a very good defence now. They have Brisbane, a young defence and a very, very good one.
Well, it's frightening. They've got the best defence in the league and the best attack.
Yeah, they're just a complete unit. Work very well together.
Huskus, the back 6 has been pretty settled all year.
Change direction here to Scott, possibly.
Yes, and well coached. Look at Chris Scott coming up the ground. He's running off Gavin Brown. He's about 40 metres away from Brown. Scott up towards centre wing. He's kicked towards centre half forward to Keating. In front, McRae, who kicked 2 first quarter goals. It spills off. Richardson gives it straight back to Scott, and Brown still hadn't picked him up. The hand pass into Huskus on the bounce. Adam Huskus. Brought to the front for McRae. He's barreled. Was it high? Held.
Umpires balling it up.
That's good umpiring by Brian Sheehan. Very good umpiring.
Yeah, McRae, a couple of occasions today, he's got to that front of the pack. Look at that, hitting it hard. Probably had 3 steps to straighten his body up. A good tackle there by Crowe, brought him to ground. But all in all, good decision.
There must be about 16 or 18 players around that bounce. Now, free kick, he's a bit stiff there, Keating. They were both pushing and shoving, and Richardson has it. And I just feel that the 50-50 free kicks today may go the way of the Magpies, as we see Tyson Lane kicking wide. He was looking for Buckley, but it didn't hit him and over.
Hasn't that been happening for 107 years here?
Well, on this side, Drew, I'm fair to him, on this side of the ground, that's why when I played up at full forward at that end, I always led round the social club. You're guaranteed a free kick. The crowd...
You just led there because you knew the aftermatch was upstairs and all the pats on the back you were going to get.
There's Batheris. He's kicked it straight into Lappin, who's having a very good game. Lappin drives it in towards full forward. Lynch flies. It's a loose ball. Williams waits. He's caught by Lawrence. Oh, he got rid of it just at the last split second. Here's Buckley playing deep in defence. Great kick. Finds Crowe. Crowe was looking for Burns. Oh, terrific punch that was by Scott. To Power, to Lappin, all these young guys. Ashcroft, one of the more experienced players. Look at this. Here's a man on his own at half forward. And it is a very, very dangerous goal kicker, Chris Johnson.
Yeah, he just gets behind opposition's defences so often, whether it's his laziness on the way out to chase or he just sits back and hopes for a turnover. But quite often you'll see Johnston be unopposed in his forward 50-metre area. Sometimes it's smart play. No doubt the Collingwood defence would have to certainly watch his ability to do that. The moment he's Tyson Lane's his opponent. Lane, of course, started the game on McRae, who kicked 2 of the opening goals.
Chris Johnson, yes, the scorer goal is kicking into the breeze. It's out to the right. Keating, Richardson, kicked by McRae, was it? For his third. Oh, what a great goal.
Well, Collingwood certainly didn't need the first goal of the second quarter to go to Brisbane. We're back in the middle, where Keating has been dominating, but this time Burns gets it out of the centre. It comes off wide. Beautiful spin by Scott. Back to midfield. Crowe is there. Keating over the top of him.
He's a good player.
Is he ever? Well, Matthew Clark can't get a run at the moment because of his form.
Absolutely brilliant. And Keating's kick up towards half forward, but Scotland is back there to take the mark.
And that's where they're so flexible, because when Clark comes onto the ground, he's fresh, he can jump, wins a lot of the centre bounce clearances. Keating can push forward to be another marking target. If Malloy or Lynch aren't winning the ball, they can be removed from the ground.
Well, Keating's brother played in a premiership side for the Adelaide Crows in about his 8th senior game of football. It's something that Clark Keating can't boast at the moment, but he might be a bit of a show this year. Don't write off Brisbane for the whole thing.
Scotty Price on Mark Orchard.
Ola Renshaw dodging and weaving around Malloy. No, he's not around Malloy. Good tackle, Molly. It comes out here. Huskis wants to turn into the centre corridor. That's disciplined team football. Inside 50, Lappin's there. Crunch to the floor, play on. It comes to the front, cleared by Orchard. And well done by Patterson.
Stephen Patterson, centre of the ground. On his own, he's freeborn. He finds him. The leads are coming thick and fast. Gavin Brown, Kennedy. Brown has got it. And this will delight the Collingwood faithful as they love him. And he's very strong overhead, Mick.
Yeah, great marking player for his size. Look back on Gavin Brown's career, more importantly here at Victoria Park. Started his career as a wingman. He was basically a stopgap situation. He'd be playing centre forward, playing the centre, go to full forward. His courage has never been questioned. Terrific competitor, great captain.
Well, he needs 4 goals today to be the leading goal kicker for the season ahead of Sav Rocker.
Well, they need it. He'll kick it out to the right and let the wind do the rest. That's a beautiful kick. He knew the wind conditions. It's a goal.
Well, Gavin Brown with that goal, that's his 31st for the year. Sav Rocker leads with 33. Of course, he's not out there, but it was great to see the whole list of Collingwood players line up for the anthem, even those not playing in the seniors today out there in their uniforms. It comes down. Ola Renshaw comes wide. Burns. There's a chance that Collingwood might get going here with the breeze second quarter. Patterson, not quite. Over the shoulder, free kick to Patterson. Advantage goes to Burns. He keeps it low but wide. Oh, what a waste. Out of bounds on the full. Just as Tarrant had made good position, albeit in the dead pocket.
Already I think the impact that Scott Burns has had on going to midfield is evident. He's had 3 kicks in this early part of the second quarter. Just gets a little bit of hardness into that part of the ground, which Collingwood certainly required.
Well, that is a very clever kick to Chris Scott. To centre wing, Keating in front. Couldn't take the mark. Orchard did well. Lane could have been hiding the man. Moss working hard. So is Black. Well played by Lappin. That was good play to Notting. Now the dangerous McRae. He's kicked 3 goals. Look at Notting. That was terrific play by a young fella. He kicks towards goal and he's got a point. But that was is he going to be a find?
I think that's the difference between the two teams at that stage, Pete. They got the ball forward, whether by a little kick off the ground, a handball forward. They didn't think back. It's just natural for all players to run forward into your part of the ground.
Malloy came in and made a real contest of that. Nearly took the mark. And the ball out of play for a throw-in. 47-14.
And Drew, you mentioned before the game, it was great to see the whole list of Collingwood players out on the ground. One player that was out there, which was fantastic to see, Brad Smith. We noticed last week got cleaned up terribly, but he's up and running. It was great to see him.
Yeah, really good. We were worried about him last week. Ball in the forward pocket here, and Brisbane looking menacing. And they're just hitting every contest really hard. Oh, great skill. Magnificent skill. Out of defence. Knocked on by Freeborn. It comes to Ashcroft. He's kicked wide, but marked by Black just inside the line.
Good umpiring by Brian Sheehan to let that contest go. That was fantastic.
Crowd wanting a free, but the umpire not falling for it that time. Kicked by Black. A lot of players here. Wet part of the ground. Comes to the front to Power. Bit of a fumble. Cleared by Williams. Another contest between these two. Lawrence and Freeborn comes to the front. Olorenshaw gets it to Burns, and the kick by Burns gains 40 metres. She's out of bounds up at centre wing.
Yes, and 2, as you called it, Drew, 2 fantastic contests a moment ago by Freeborn and Stephen Lawrence. 2 real goers, and they fought hard, but the umpire let it go and didn't pick out a ticky touch with free kick, which was terrific. Here's Olorenshaw getting plenty of the ball at the moment. He goes inside, they're looking for Laney, just a little fumble. Buckley calling for a hand pass. Orchard has lost it to Black. Now Buckley, it's amazing how the ball goes with good players. Mark Richardson, Tarrant used his body pretty well, the young fellow. Huskus nearly dived on it, lucky for him, but went loose. Chris Scott, they're trying to hook it out. Oh, look at this, Huskus, geez, been a terrific acquisition. Has he been a good acquisition to this side across half-back, Mick?
Yeah, he certainly has. Already today he's had 7 kicks. Hasn't been loose across half-back as much as what he'd like, possibly. He's been matched up fairly closely. He's got the job on Stephen Patterson. Mel Michael in the second quarter. So far, all Brisbane. They've never won here at Victoria Park. They've lost all 5 meetings with Collingwood here. Burns over the top with a big leap. Brown with desperation that's characterised his football over 13 or so years. But Theros follows up and takes Voss over the line, and the umpire will throw it in. Olenshaw's been quite a good player for Collingwood today. He's had 14 possessions on centre wing. Darryl White's now gone to centre wing for the Brisbane Lions to match him up.
Again, the ball underfoot. Now it's going to be a free kick here to Brisbane. Umpire Carey playing the free kick back towards the back pocket. Coming up limping is Black. He'll take it by hand, Simon Black.
He's had a great year, Black. Huskus, he can chip it across here if he wants to. He's coming up the middle. Akamanis, now he can transfer it out wide. Gee, they're good at this, Brisbane.
And White's
now he can go, he can go to White in the centre, he should. Yes, he will. White's on his own. This is danger for Collingwood. Buckley didn't come at him. He should have. Brings it in towards Lynch. Oh, Lynch was caught very, very high in the danger area. Brisbane trying to get an Orchard. To Shawball. To Williams. With Buckley calling for it. He chips it across. He's got 3 players to give it to. One of them was Burns. Burns goes 10 metres backwards. This is Scotland. Scotland goes short. And he finds Buckley. Now Buckley's going on the turn, kicks along. Patterson and Lawrence. Patterson can't mark. He went to ground. You can't afford that. Lawrence off the ground and over the line. It's not Lawrence, it's Power, I should say. They look very alike. And there's a little Magpie supporter in front row seats.
Yeah, good transfer of play there by Collingwood. Williams tried to get the ball back into the centre corridor. That's the right thing to do. Good switch. Allowed some run from behind for Collingwood. Just unfortunate Patterson couldn't take that mark from the Buckley kick.
Kick by Chris Scott back up towards midfield. Lane dodges and weaves, gets it away. Kick under pressure, hasn't gone any distance. Buckley, that's no mark. Now the ball's held to him. And the umpire will throw it in the air, I'd say, out there. Blustery breeze across the ground. Craig Lambert preparing to come on for the Lions. What a classy bench.
And these conditions would certainly suit Lambert in and under. That's the type of player he is.
Best bench in the league. Comes to Voss. Over centre wing with his kick. Now, they've always got Crummers at the front. McRae's kicked 3 goals. He's been phenomenal. It skims and bounces. Lynch. He threw it away. He's holding the ball. Good decision, umpire. Helped by 25,000 Collingwood fans.
Yeah, I think he was trying to claim that he handballed that. Lynch, oh, look out, Presty. He was almost caught. Ola Renshaw kicks to a contest. Mel Michael, centre wing. He's got Eustace after him. Knocked it away. Good umpiring again. Very good Brian Sheehan. No free kick there. It'll be a throw-in on centre wing where Keating will take on Mark Richardson.
And smart tackle there by Eustace.
And Simon Black limping off the Brisbane Lions. Doesn't look too good at all. Craig Lambert on for his first run.
Well, that's, as we said, that's a terrific interchange. Bad luck. I hope for Brisbane's sake, Black's not too badly hurt. Look at Lambert. Took him 2 seconds to get a kick. Oh, good mark, Notting. Terrific mark, a fingertipper. Or Clark going back on his own here. He can chip it to him, but he's electing to kick long. In front of the Collingwood Social Club. Shawville races back, was grabbed by the arm. Now, it wasn't out on the full. It'll be a throw-in right in front. And there's Simon Black. Or let's hope that's not a groin injury with the finals coming up.
Yeah, here's this mark of Notting. Terrific mark. Quite easy to fumble those balls when your momentum of the ball, your body's going towards the ground. But good composure there by Notting.
Gee, is he hot at the moment, Notting. 6 goals last week. Bethera's hand pass back to Buckley. What a kick by Nathan Buckley to Heath Scotland. He's taken on Power, but he's gone. He stumbled right into him. Probably lucky not to be pinged. Patterson goes off the ground. It goes to Lynch. His hand pass away. Lappin. Just Brisbane Lion players everywhere. Their skills are fantastic. They've won games this year in the wet, so they know how to play it. But their skills and their team plan is just perfect. And Chris Johnson gets on the end of the kick.
And that's what you call inexperience, Drew. Slippery conditions under your feet. Once you're running in a straight line, you've got to keep going straight. Very difficult. The technique of the tackler in today's game is very good. Slippery conditions, trying to duck and weave and balk, creates mistakes.
Johnson from 40 metres out. Well, he has made the distance across the face of goal. Malloy.
Well, that's twice Johnson has kicked poorly from there.
Yeah, well, this is tricky because in that part of the ground, as you know, Pete, the shelter is a little bit lower from the that outer grandstand.
Centres the ball. He's given it up. Patterson's taken the mark. And Collingwood up and running. That could be an expensive turnover.
Yes, it could be, as we see Williams on centre wing trying to race away. There's a bit of pace there. Akamanis and Williams. Rocker. Terrific pick-up by Anthony Rocker. Williams was there with Michael. Michael dodging and weaving. They need a couple of quick goals. They've got a chance. Oh, free kick to Brisbane. It should have been. He was held by the jumper, Chris Scott.
Good work, Burns.
Peter Carey let that one go. Oh, the heads go down. Lepich heads for the boundary line. Stephen Lawrence takes it over. And it'll be a throw-in just inside 50. I really felt it should have been a Brisbane kick down there then.
Sean Hart's also on the ground for the Brisbane Lions. He's gone to half-forward. Scotland's picking him up.
Lepich over the top, but it comes down to Burns. Lepich applies the tackle. Freeborn off the ground. Akamanis dispossessed. Tarrant the hand pass. And Ola Renshaw centres the ball. Rocker spoiled by Kennedy. And Kennedy kept his feet as Rocker went to ground. Great play, Matty Kennedy. To Lambert. Lambert off the left to half forward. Voss well placed. Well done, Betheris. Front of the pack, Johnson. Crash. Down he goes. Play on, says the umpire. Good contest, that. Collingwood have it. Out towards centre wing. Huskis gives chase. Bethera shepherded off well. Clearing a path for Huskis. Oh! Into the back of Johnson. Back to Huskis. That's unbelievable how they combine then. White comes back. Ashcroft pops it up high. Lynch charges and marks again.
Yeah, this is a pretty ordinary display from Collingwood. They're just not panning up. And you've got to man up against good opposition teams. Too many players are unaccountable. Look at that, the space 20 metres directly in front of goal when players are flooding a back line should never happen. Having Lynch to lead into that space and contest the footy as easily as that, Tony Shaw would be livid, and rightfully so.
Lynch for his third. Well, he started it way left. Well, it's not a tornado blown. He didn't have to allow that much. That's out on the foot.
I think that's had a lot to do with his footing, Mick.
Yep. Very slippery conditions directly in front of goal, but it'll be interesting to see whether Anthony Rocker should be the player that goes into the ruck to give him some sort of impetus. He can do it for a 5-minute period. Maybe Mark Richardson go deep, be the marking player across the full forward line, Gavin Brown, to come up the ground, be isolated against his opponent, Scott.
Heath Scotland. Oh, look at Keating. Is he playing with some confidence? Looking for Voss. He finds him. Voss hooks it back. Oh, they're a good side, this mob. And the mark has been taken by Sean Hart, who is on the wrong side of the ground for a left footer. But I guarantee he'll get a lot closer than Chris Johnson did in his 2 shots at goal.
Free kick off the footy to Aldred Shaw, directly out in front of goal against Darryl White. There was some holding. As Freeborn comes from the ground, Scott Crowe comes back on. He'll probably go to the forward part of the ground, play as a forward pocket type drumming player for Collingwood.
Well, coaches, or particularly Lee Matthews, would absolutely hate that when someone's having a shot for goal. Ricky Renshaw looks for Buckley. Buckley's way out at half back, closer to the back pocket area. He'll almost reach the centre wing. Prestigiacomo and Lynch. Lynch got front position as he so often does. Richardson shuffled back. Prestigiacomo. Voss races after Batheris, but he gets his kick in. A fly at the back. Lepic went past the ball. Tarrant, free kick. Tarrant holding the man. 50 metres. Could be 50. The ball was kicked away after the decision was made, so this will be a goal to the Magpies to Tarrant.
Yeah, I thought the free kick was no doubt there, but I don't know about the 50-metre penalty, Pete. The ball spilled out very quickly to Ackermanis. As we see here, holding was there. Now the umpire just would have bounced, blew the whistle about now. There he is on the top of the screen. We couldn't really see it. I thought it was a pretty quick decision.
I think Ackermanis just heard it as he was about to kick and half-kicked it.
Yeah, well...
He didn't know what to do.
Yeah, well, that's possibly the case.
Look at that Collingwood crowd now. That's what the opposition...
loser,
have to come. Yeah, that's what they're saying as Tarrant puts it through for a goal.
Vehicle.
So the Brisbane forwards really, backs really getting a full mouthful from the Collingwood fans. Back in the centre. Palm down to Buckley. Well done by Richardson. To half forward, Ackermanis in front. The ball past him. Tarrant, good spin. Another goal here. It'll be handy for the Pies. Michael!
Here's the class of the future for Collingwood. Michael looked good across the full forward line last week. Caused a few concerns for Byron Pickett against the Kangaroos. That was terrific work there by Tarrant. Good clearance there by Collingwood. Buckley didn't finesse, got the footy forward. Williams across half forward, worked hard to get the ball in his area. Tarrant mopped up and kicked beautifully towards the lead of Michael.
40 metres, the breeze hard across him, and it goes left. We've seen a lot of kicks go left at that end of the ground, are behind only when they really needed a goal. They still trail by 26.
And Drew, just on Simon Black for the Brisbane Lions, the physio and the doctor had a good look at him. It's definitely his left groin. They've taken him into the rooms. It looks very sore, and I very much doubt we'll see him again today.
Well, that's rotten luck, Aussie, because Simon Black's had a fantastic year, and Lepic is giving the supporters behind the fence as much as he's copying. He's making faces at him. Well, good on you, Justin. At least you've got a sense of humour, and he can afford to because he's a great player. Here's Rocker.
Sense of humour, or great courage.
Well, the best comeback of all is have a look at the scoreboard.
I suppose.
Lepic, he's had a magnificent... He'd be the best fullback in the competition at the moment.
Yeah, he's
got the last say.
Ozzy, what's it like down at ground level, just the emotion from the supporters?
Well, they just need to kick that one more goal. They've got to stick at it. But you can just tell, Mick, at ground level, when they kick a goal, the Pies, the crowd just erupts, and it's no doubt going to lift the players to a greater level.
Well, here's Williams. And Ackermanis, they're having a terrific drill. Ricky Renshaw. The dangerous Buckley. Chris Johnson's after him. He can't pick it up, Buckley. He'll probably end up with it. He's a great player. Soccers it off the ground. Back it comes to Ashcroft. He finds Ackermanis. Off they go. Lappin. Now he goes the other way because he had no one to give it to. On he goes to Lambert. That's a great kick to McRae by Lambert. Now McRae's going to get it moving quickly. He brings it back in front of goal. Lynch will mark this. Oh, he couldn't quite grab it. Here he goes though, a goal to Brisbane.
Party time.
Well, a vital goal for the Lions into the breeze. 8-5 to 3 goals 3. And just under 2 minutes remaining to half-time. Lynch has got 4. Palmed down by Richardson, but taken by Ashcroft. He's worked off the ball by Buckley, and then Bucks gets into the back of his opponent and gives away the free kick to be taken by Craig Lambert. He's got straight in amongst the action after he came off the bench. Great disposal to White, running past Lepic. He's loved this in the last line of defence this year, and he's come forward to kick some goals. Lynch has the spoil put on him. It comes to Hart, who slips like an eel. The kick by Hart is good. Malloy at the back almost. Crashing through Voss. Can't get boot to ball. Malloy there. Crowd wanting a free kick. They're getting involved. And Collingwood good enough to bring it out. Lane just in the nick of time. Puts it wide. And Tarrant deep in defence. Kicked by Tarrant over centre wing. Well delivered to Crow. And he marks.
Scott Crow way out at half forward. Along, he's almost towards centre wing area. He kicks it low. He tried to dummy the kick. Ackermanis, gee, did that well against Williams. Well played, Williams. Well played. Then he was caught by Lawrence, and when you're caught by Lawrence, you are fair to come caught.
Yeah, you stay caught. Great tackle there by Lawrence. Paul Williams just couldn't get free of the tackle. Had a couple of players running forward. Good contest there. Ackermanis tried to win front position. Good recovery, good pick up there by Williams, and free kick here.
Keating's
by Keating.
Keating's been exceptional in the ruck. He has dominated the whole ruck contest. He gives it across to Houston. Oh, here come the runners.
And this has killed him.
Kennedy, here they go. They love running from the back line in waves. They do, Brisbane. They've got the loose man going. He can give it across to Lappin. What will Lappin do? He runs to 50. He kicks long a goal. A great kick, a long kick. Touch right on the line. But that was exciting football from the back line, Mickey Maguire.
Yeah, there's no doubt Collingwood forwards have to start manning up. They've got to be more disciplined in that approach at the game, because that's where Brisbane are renowned for setting up their play across that half-back line, change direction through Euskus, through Ackermanis, then the overlap of Lepic or Kennedy may be on. That's what they did on that occasion. Collingwood certainly have to man up a little bit better.
Excellent mark, but here's the siren for half-time. And, well, the celebrations that have happened here today for Collingwood in their last appearance at Victoria Park on match day have gone a bit sour. One of the things that's happening here is there's going to be a wedding performed on the ground at half-time. I hope the marriage goes a bit better than the Pies are going.
And she won't look at Voss limping. They wouldn't want injuries to Voss, and we're already Simon Black looks as though he's got a groin injury, and that is bad news for Brisbane, particularly on the eve of the finals. Alistair Lynch inquiring how bad it is. Let's hope it's not for the good of the game, Mick.
Yeah, well, he's not too bad. He wouldn't be laughing and smiling with Craig Starcevich and Alistair Lynch. Probably just a little bit of a knock. He'll get it looked at in the half-time break. There's Lee Matthews. Foreign territory for him, walking from that part of the ground onto Victoria Park. There's the Collingwood boys leaving the arena. They will gather their thoughts at the half-time break, listen to Tony Shaw's address, and hopefully in the third quarter try to get back on track.
Well, the second quarter was dead even. They both kicked 2 goals, 2 each, but Brisbane were going into the breeze. They're in a commanding position, leading by 33 at half-time.
Looking for the casting director. Just look at that. Look. Oh, yes. That was done perfectly, wasn't it?
Yeah, umpire Forbes not fooled. So 8 points the margin, close to half-time. The Dolphins lead. Smith for his second. No doubt about it.
He's a good player, isn't he?
2 points the difference.
Now, Clinton, coming back to your point about playing the quarter out.
Welcome back to Victoria Park, where the birthday really is failing for Collingwood so far, and the Lions lead by 33 points at half-time. Brisbane 8-6-54 to 3 goals 3, and the goal kickers, McRae 3 and Lynch has kicked 3, although actually I make Lynch having 4, and for Collingwood they've only kicked 3, singles to Tarrant, Rocker and Brown. So no doubt Tony Shaw in his final ever half-time speech will be revving up the Pies for a big second half in their final appearance at Victoria Park. Let's go to other games now, and the match at the MCG. The last time we saw a score, it was remarkable. Melbourne playing Essendon. Some highlights of the first half.
Alessio, the centre-half forward, doing the ruck work, does it well on the left hand. McDonald can't get it away. Heffernan quickly on out to Alessio. Cross the body, the big man. That's not too bad for a big fella. That's a great goal from Alessio.
Just inside the interchange gates. Denon sold him into trouble. Simons tries to get it back to Rioli. Snaffled by Collins, who's doing well. Matthew Phoebe, shepherded by Collins. The D swing into attack again. That's good delivery. Simmons from behind has the sit. Couldn't mark it. Plays on. Here's a big fella.
Big fella.
Kicks it up towards 50. Bolton tries to punch from behind. Johnson and Leoncelli. Leoncelli wins initially. Gets it to a teammate in McDonald. Schwartz. The Ox. Beautifully delivered. Stephen Phoebe. That's fine. Only 3 career goals, so not really a goal kicker as such. Should get this, and does.
So the free kick with the Bombers. They have Johnson loose out here on the wing. He's taken it. He's kicking to half forward. The lead from Lloyd is good. The mark is exceptional. Matthew Lloyd needs this shot. He just has the one behind against his name. That's far better from the full forward. Simmons for Melbourne. Good feed inboard. Rigoni kicks now to 30 metres out from goal. Schwartz. Neitz does the roving. Back he goes as he did in the first quarter. Charged on in. That's 4 now for the game.
So at half-time at the MCG, and Melbourne another 5 goals in the second quarter, 5 goals each. It's 12-5-77 to 8-5-53, and that score not quite at half-time. Alessio and Lloyd have kicked 3 goals each. Well, a Mitsubishi magic moment. Who else on a day like today but Tony Shaw?
The winner of the Norm Smith medal, Tony Shaw.
The years of frustration and heartbreak had come to an end. The man who guided Collingwood out of football's wilderness had become one of the Magpies' great heroes.
I sort of went to my knees and probably had a tear in my eye. That was the main thing. It was just a great relief of sort of not being losers again.
Tony Shaw led Collingwood to the 1990 Premiership with a superb and inspirational captain's game.
They put me up on their shoulders in the goal square as we went halfway round, and just to see those people, the cheer squad, and it was just unbelievable. They were crying, and I think they were going to have a few beers that night.
The Norm Smith medalist, the proudest man in the land. Tony Shaw, another Mitsubishi memorable moment.
Yes, well done, Tony Shaw. The game's record holder, best on ground that day they won the flag, and his reputation hasn't been sullied at all by his 4 years as coach at Collingwood, even though they've had a singular lack of success since he's been at the helm. Well, at half-time here, there is a kick for cash competition, and a man from the public has a chance to win $10,000, and here he goes. It's John Gawn of Diamond Creek. He has to kick 2 out of 3 to get the money, and his first kick was an absolute shocker. He's probably nervous in front of the crowd here. He is a Collingwood fan, but his second one, through it goes right through the middle. And so John Gawn needs this last one for $10,000 from Primus. And home it goes. And John Gawn is absolutely delighted. He hasn't been on a holiday for 3 years. His son was injured. The Collingwood players have been magnificent to him and the family over the years, and that's Primus money, $10,000 for kicking 2 out of 3. And after the first kick, who would have thought it? After the break, there is a wedding on the ground here at Victoria Park. Don't miss it. Half-time at historic Victoria Park, and the Pies have the job in front of them because Brisbane lead 8-6-54 to 3 goals 3-21. Now the Western Bulldogs taking on Port Adelaide today. Let's take a look at highlights of the first half between these two teams that will both be playing in the finals.
Waiting down in front, Hudson, Darcy, Liberatore. He loves these. Rowan Smith loves to kick a goal like that. And now comes somewhat laterally to Michael Wilson. No one on the mark, and he's a left footer. So away he goes, long, in towards full forward. Oh, big mark at the back. First possession. Chalmers for a goal for the Power. And he's got it. That's what he wants. To full forward. Winmar lurking in front. Here's an opportunity for the 250 gamer. He's kicked a goal. Well done, Mickey. But this is Scotty West going for goal. A disappointing kick, but Winmar's taken the mark. And as I said before, he's a very skillful player. And he's kicked a goal. Halfway through this second quarter. Now Wilson sneaks away from Winmar and does it fairly easily in the end. Great opportunity for Eagleton. Let's go a bomb, and it's a beauty. It wobbles back towards the half back line. Montgomery, here's danger. Brown takes it from Liberatore, and Brown answers with a goal. Taken here by Albie, only been on the ground a matter of a minute or two, in towards half forward, and Hudson is marked right in front of goal. And Hudson will go for goal, and he gets another one for the Bulldogs. Too easy.
And the scores from off this oval with the Dogs leading by 17 points. Nicky Winmar doing well, 7-5-47 to Port Adelaide, 4 goals 6-30. Back here at Victoria Park, and here is the wedding ceremony going on in front of the Sharon stand. Remarkable to see this happening at a football game. Kevin Bear, who was a Fitzroy supporter, and Jenny Hallam, a Collingwood supporter, and taking their vows in front of a packed house here. And well, Jenny's absolutely going to love this. She was asked apparently whether they were darting off for a honeymoon quickly. She said, no, I'm just going to take the seat to watch the second half.
Hale Stadium. Jenny and Kevin and Jenny have declared before all of us that they will live together in marriage. They have made special promises to each other. They have symbolised it by joining hands, taking vows and exchanging of ring. I now declare Kevin and Jenny to be husband and wife. You may now kiss your bride.
Well, it's not often you are declared husband and wife with 25,000 people cheering.
Ladies and gentlemen,
although I have to admit,
the marriage
when
is now complete.
The celebrant said earlier on, who brings this woman and who brings this man, the crowd said, no, don't do it. It was fantastic. Congratulations to them. Good luck, and we'll be back here at Victoria Park after a short break.
You're going to have a mixed bag next year. You're going AFL players that your teams will be playing against. You're not lining up with anyone next year.
No, I think the difficulty with our tyranny of distance, just with obviously the Melbourne-based AFL clubs, with the alignment with North Ballarat. But obviously, we look at Sandringham. We have trouble playing Sandringham now.
Without Jeff White and Farmer in the team.
That's right. If they keep dropping those players back, it's going to be difficult. But opportunities and challenges and threats, you know, it's the way you look at it, really.
I know the boys are itching to have a word to you now, and Clinton and Phil?
Well, we'd like to, first of all, congratulate Gerard on a terrific season.
Now! It's Modern Roof Restoration.
One through hosting a final. Was it a pretty good night?
Yes, it was. It certainly was taken in the right... Oh, well, obviously there's been a fair gilding of the lily as time wears on. But basically, it's right. I was playing my first game at Geelong, and of course I was very, very excited, and John was our captain at the time, as you know, and I got out of the car and walked, and was very, very proud to walk in beside my captain, but as I found out in the rooms, the captain didn't know who I was or even that I was having my first game.
He thought you were the water boy, didn't he?
Well, something like that, yeah. But I certainly introduced myself to the umpire because I was going to get any 50-50.
The start of a great career on your part.
Indeed it is. Now, before we say goodbye to Gerard, let's take a quick look at half-time scores from the round the grounds. And first up to the Collingwood match, there we see the half-time not changed because we saw half-time
run out. You may kiss the brides. I know what was going through his head. One thing we have seen, though, is a class performance by the Brisbane Lions. When you take into consideration 1 inch of water on the ground at some stage, it's just awesome. Here comes the second half.
Thanks, Ozzy. Palm down to Buckley, but his kick is smothered. They are swarming like bees, Brisbane. Lambert had a chance in the middle, and eventually it is held up. A 33-point lead to Brisbane. They led by 33 also at quarter time. So the second quarter was level. But with all the festivities that have been going on here at Victoria Park, let's hope the Collingwood players can get a lift out of it and bring themselves back in this second half. Otherwise, they'll take their spectators right out of this contest.
And Drew, the Brisbane Lions forward structure is basically the same as the first half. Just a couple of new matchups. Orchard's got the job on McRae. Freeborn's gone back to pick up Chris Johnson. And Heath Scotland is now playing on Lappin.
Keating and Richardson. Richardson grabbed it out of that bounce. Still trying to go on with it, the Magpies. Tyson Lane in towards half-forward. No mark. Rocker looks though he's been moved out into the half-forward area. Around the corner goes Scotty Crow, but he blazes it over the line, so it'll be a penalty kick down there. And there's the bride and groom, the happy bride and groom.
She almost took a mark then.
Ashcroft. Oh, the mark, he was off before he took it, Kennedy, but he's got plenty of time to get it to Ackermanis. Now, here's one of the Scott twins, and this is Brad Scott.
Take your pick.
And, well, they've got a terrific bench. Notting's underneath that one. Orchard to Scotland. Scotland bends it back in the direction of Buckley. Buckley's got a running player here. It's Lucurio. He's caught. No, it's not. It's Lane. And he was caught red hot. Lambert, an up and under kick. Keating races back. Keating couldn't mark. He's been very, very good, though. It's at half forward for Brisbane. Shawbull tried to knock it out. Brisbane with numbers. Oh, no one's coming out. Lynch. Lynch gives it across to Johnson. Johnson bends it back. Danger here for the Magpies. The mark is missed. Here's Notting. Notting. Back it comes. It's still in that forward pocket area. The Magpies try and get it out. Notting hooks it back in front of goal. Lynch, he couldn't mark either. A lot of mistakes being made off the ground by Johnson. He's still going in hard. Burns is caught. And the umpire really letting it go. A pretty ordinary passage of play going on here, actually. It's finally out to Ola Renshaw, and that was given to him by Lane. Close to the boundary line. Ashcroft. Not a lot happening at the moment. Ashcroft bends it back. Johnson waited for it. Here's Sean Hart, a quick kick at goal. Another mistake. It's kicked back to the... Well, we'll have a look at the Collingwood bench, but that was the worst bit of football I've ever seen in my life, Aussie.
That's right. It was a bit sloppy, but the Collingwood bench, Stephen Patterson, Nick Davis, Parker Lockyer, and Gavin Krasiska. And for Brisbane, they've got some problems. Michael Voss and Simon Black are still in the rooms with the club physio.
McRae gets
and
his
on the bench, Power and Clark.
And also with 16 possessions, John Carroll. From 35. Oh, that's not bad. It's just hit.
Well, after a scramble as a leader from the pack, Craig McRae kicked his 4th goal, and Brisbane are rollicking on here against the Pies. Ashcroft wrapped up in midfield. Remarkable for Ashcroft. He's played 159 games straight. Hasn't missed a game since 1992, and after Jimmy Steins retired at the end of last year, that is the current record. 159 without a miss for Marcus Ashcroft. Back in the middle, Keating just winning everything, dominating the ruck. And Hart is swamped. Now By will ball it up once more.
And to think that shortly they'll probably take Keating off, and on comes Matthew Clark.
Yeah, fresh ruckman, a terrific centre square ruckman also. Jumps early. Brad Scott looks like he's got the job now on Nathan Buckley.
Here's Bathiris getting a tough kick away. Did pretty well there. Crow, beautiful kick. He put it out to the left for Brown. Buckley front of the pack. Rocker's there as well. His hand pass is knocked down. Once again, it's a scrap at ground level. Tarrant flips the ball up, but Brisbane whip it away. Lepich and Ashcroft.
Ashcroft has been a very good player for a number of years now. He's on centre wing. He's looking for the short one because he's got running players everywhere. Look at this. That's terrific play by Leppich. He runs to half forward from full back, puts it to a one-on-one. Lynch takes front position, couldn't mark. Malloy against Shawball. Malloy used his body well. Lynch from the boundary line hooks it back at goal, and across the face it just bounces before it went over the line.
Just a couple of examples why Brisbane Lions are a very good team. Just their momentum of their bodies going through the contest that little bit harder than Collingwood. Malloy was an example against Schwalbe.
Well, it's 25 metres out, socket off the ground. That was by White, and through it goes for a behind.
And also, Pete, one area of the game that Chris Tarrant has to improve in, he has to be aware of when Leppich is about to run. He just stood back and spectated, put too much pressure on the midfield group to cover. Leppich charged forward, received the change direction, and set up a scoring opportunity for the Brisbane team.
Well, Buckley's kicking it wide. Oh, it's going to be a photo finish.
Good kick.
Just marked it inside Scotty Burns. Burns, he looks up and there's going to be a contest whatever happens. Players are swooping from everywhere. Shawball couldn't mark it. Lorenzo did pretty well then. Now it's flicked out. Lambert working hard. That was good play by Lambert. Socketed off the ground. Burns. Johnson by the ball. He didn't judge it too well, but he goes back after it again. He's got Ashcroft in support. Ashcroft kicks it to half forward where Licuria, he drops a mark too, but a pretty windy day. They're not easy any mark today.
It's a throw. Throw against Licuria, much the same as in an earlier quarter against the Brisbane Lions here. The scoop against Power. On that occasion, the free kick was deemed. Nigel Lappin is a recipient.
He runs around Burns on the mark and kicks to centre half forward. Lawrence slides in and takes the mark for Brisbane right in front. Well, let's hope not, but this could finish up being a rout. It's 40 points the lead already to Brisbane, and we're only early in the third quarter. Plenty of wind-assisted time, and by three-quarter time, they might well have taken Collingwood right out of this contest. Lawrence, 40 metres right in front, starts it right. Breeze works on it a bit, but not enough.
It'll be interesting over the summer months how Collingwood go about rectifying their current situation. They're just playing too loose. Last week against the Kangaroos, they were very accountable. They worked hard in tight, whereas in the space of 7 days, whether it's through inexperience or youth trying to maintain consistent levels, they just haven't been able to match the Brisbane team today in most departments.
Believe it or not, they don't look all that fired up either.
Their body language isn't good.
No, I just wonder whether the occasion has been too much for some of the young guys. Here's Licuria, punched away by Keating. He does a lot of, Mick, he does a lot of disciplined things, doesn't he? Team-orientated things.
Well, there was another example, Pete. You spoke highly of him all day today. Licuria sort of waited for the footy to come to his hands, whereas Keating jumped into the contest. Those little 6 inches things, that's the width of your body. You've just got to get your body in first in the line of the footy.
What great play by Ashcroft. A quick kick. Oh, he's missed it, Scotland. Darryl White is there with Malloy. Scotland. Malloy brilliantly done to Brad Scott. Brad Scott will hook at goal. He's hooked it too far and he's missed. But those Brisbane forwards work particularly hard even when they haven't got the ball.
And Licuria is coming from the ground. Patterson's coming on. There's Eddie Maguire in the makeshift stand. Obviously a worried man looking at what Nathan Buckley could possibly do on this kick-in. But Patterson's going to the forward part of the ground. He'll be picked up by Eustace.
And Peter McKenna, I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about the enormity of the situation and the occasion. Collingwood, a very young side. The occasion was either going to lift them to a high level or, as you see time and time again, get the better of them, and you can tell they're just too nervous.
Renshaw in hard, but Lambert even harder. It's Lambert who gets the ball out. This is terrific. Comes out to Notting. He's gone. Turn the ball over. Collingwood have it. And Lane across the ground. Johnson comes to make a contest with Michael. It spills to Freeborn. Freeborn spots a player but doesn't deliver it well. Lawrence in front, works to the line. Well done, Stevie Lawrence.
And that's another example, Drew, of playing the percentage. He knew he had to put his back in between his opponent and the footy. Instead of trying to mark the ball and let the ball drop at his feet, he actually punched the ball across the boundary line, live to fight another day, get the midfield group back in the contest.
Brad Scott again, now picking up Buckley, the two number 5s on each other. Hart keeps it in and gains 40 metres. And it's out of bounds up near the 50 for Brisbane, who lead 9 goals 8 to 3 goals 3. And unfortunately at the moment, Brisbane are raining on Collingwood's parade.
Yes, it's sad for the crowd actually, because there's a bit of a hush has gone around the crowd, because the Magpies getting well trounced at the moment. They're 7 goals down. It's shuffled out to Olarinshaw. He was trying to head for the boundary line. Here's Tyson Lane receiving from Mark Richardson. Rocker way out at centre wing. Gives it off. Tyson Lane. Tarrant has led to the pocket, but Leppich read that beautifully. And Leppich going to transfer play here to White. White has got loose men running for him. He's going to kick it wide. Oh, they do love to run. This is Chris Scott. Here's Lappin. Oh, Ackermanis is running too. He's coming inside to Kennedy. He can go wide to Ackermanis. This is brilliant football. Ackermanis onto the left. Brings it into Lynch. Oh, that is champagne football. You wouldn't see better football than that anywhere, Mick.
Yeah, especially with these conditions. They're just handling the ball like a dry day. Ackermanis continued to run onto his left side. Knows he's got terrific skills. Gave himself a little bit of space between himself and the chaser. But as you said, Pete, use of the ball in terms of effectiveness, these two sides are miles apart in terms of class.
Alistair Lynch for a goal number 4. He has kicked it. And the Brisbane Lions move on.
6 of the 7 finals will be played here.
Warwick Jones, the president of the Dolphins.
Most don't even finish.
Back in the centre. Pretty cool, dark day here in Melbourne. And it's heading towards being a very dark day for Collingwood in their final appearance at Victoria Park. Hart ridden into the ground, and the umpire will ball it up. As you look around this ground, there are the famous Collingwood names up on the grandstand. My mate Peter McKenna right alongside. Lee Matthews is in the visiting coach's box, having coached Collingwood to a premiership in 1990. But you look at the names, the Rose brothers, the Toomey brothers, Len Thompson, Ray and Tony Shaw, and all sorts of tradition to lift Collingwood, but they haven't been able to match it today. How good's Darryl White? Absolutely sensational by White, but he gave it away to Lane. Midfield. Is that a mark or a free kick? Play on, nothing for it. Gee, the Collingwood fans didn't like that too much. It's taken by Brad Scott. A high ball inside the 50. Richardson wrestling. Rocker came over the top of him. Neither of them have got the footy. Chris Johnson's a chance for Brisbane. Ball taken towards the line. He's just about holding it, the Collingwood player. Play on, says the umpire. Michael on all fours. The hand pass away. Buckley to tidy up. He's lost it. Brad Scott, centering kick. Discipline. Well coached Brisbane. And they could come from last to a premiership in 1 year, and nobody's ever done it in the AFL.
Olarinshaw gets it out to Patterson. He just kicks blindly. He didn't look. He was under pressure, but he just kicked it wildly, and waiting for it was Kennedy, who's going to... Oh, he's kicked into the man coming towards him. He had a loose man. Crow. Lawrence worked hard. Lambert dived on it. He might lose this holding the ball if he's not careful. Still, that was Lawrence that time. Ackermanis is quick. White, a very sure ball handler. Olarinshaw was working hard there. Whoa. Scotty Burns ran into a brick wall. He's pretty tough though, it didn't hurt him. And the umpire will have to bounce this one. The umpire was letting it go then, Brian Sheen.
Yeah, pretty good umpiring by the umpire. Kept the footy alive. Yeah, it looked like initially it was a head-high contact to Scott Burns. Good decision there by the umpire when you watch it in slow motion. But Collingwood has still got a man up. There is going to be one.
Oh, just tackling all over the field, and Brisbane just in numbers and their skills bring it forward again. Here's a high tackle though. Free kick to Collingwood, and the fans yell as though they've never had a free kick ever. It's to Olarinshaw. Rocker now back in defence. He kicks wide. Past Lockyer it goes. Centre wing. Defensive side of the ground. He keeps it in. A real kick and hope job. Kuskis. Oh, he's too slow. He's gone. Great tackle by Orchard. It spills to Tarrant, but it'll come back, and Orchard will take his free kick.
Yeah, good play, Tarrant. He realised that if the advantage had been played, he was running onto his right leg. Low percentage, actually stopped and waited for Orchard to find his feet. The ball would have been brought back. Good play.
Great inspiration from nearly the smallest bloke on the team, Orchard.
And
The crowd want Rocker to bomb one from about 70 metres. He's got no hope into that breeze. In fact, that's a shocking kick straight to Keating.
Right, but there was no effort by the Collingwood forwards to get out to Keating and make a contest of it. Kennedy further afield to McRae, Notting, 6 goals last week. There's no excuse for a guy when the ball's floating in the air that the forwards don't at least rush out and contest the mark. You can't let a bloke mark on his own. I think Collingwood's performance, making excuses for the enormity of the occasion, I think it's been very, very ordinary.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I don't think you can take into account the pre-match hype and all that. There's a game of footy to be won. That doesn't change week to week. They've just been totally outplayed.
Yeah, no, dead right. Now, that was Lambert getting involved. Free ball. Races to half forward, chips it in towards that centre corridor, punch the ground. Oh, that's very good defensive play. Ackermanis goes wide. He's looking out here. Or Johnson, he could have run and marked that. He waited for the bounce and let it bounce over the line, centre wing.
I think it's the unforced errors that have also hurt Collingwood on a couple of occasions. Anthony Rocker's won possession merely because he's playing in the ruck, playing a kick behind the play. He's won the footy, but just hasn't used it to the best of his ability.
Poor kick. Lambert has it. Funny old hand pass. Ackermanis in trouble. Wide to Lepic. He works it up the ground and passed wide out of bounds. 48-point lead to Brisbane, who are heading for their 8th straight win. Club record for the Brisbane Lions. And they'll be going into next week's final series, Cockatoo. They'll have a home final at the Gabba. If they win that, they'll get a second final at the Gabba. And their next appearance in Melbourne could be grand final day on the last week, Saturday in September.
Centre wing. So a lot of the I actually think the sting's gone out of Brisbane a little bit too. They seem to be going through the motions a bit.
Matthew Clark warming up, ready to come on. No doubt he'll replace Clark Keating.
Well, Keating has been absolutely sensational in the ruck, and to bring on a guy with the ability of Clark, a fresh player who can jump and palm the ball, is going to be a huge asset, particularly come finals time. Rick Olorenshaw, who was looking for Tarrant. Anthony Rocker is there. Look at Keating working hard in that pack. Diving on the ball was number 18, Lambert. And the umpire will throw it up again.
And boys, more fresh legs for the Brisbane Lions. Luke Power also ready to come back on. Craig Lambert coming off for him.
Well, they're giving Aussie. It looks like they're giving Lambert little spurts to run him into fitness.
Yeah, pretty smart too. He's had hamstring problems, and you don't want to give him too much too early.
Tarrant was skillful there. He kicks wide, very wide. Not sure why Collingwood want to go to that side of the ground, because there's a million kicks to goal from there.
I also think, Aussie, the reason why he's been removed from the ground, heavy ground, if hamstring problems, once fatigue sets in, certainly puts more strain on your body.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Mick. Good point.
So, boundary throwing. Tarrant doing a bit of wrestling. Huskis comes over the top and does very well. Ashcroft gets the hand pass from Chris Scott. Orchard in trouble, but did well. Laid a terrific tackle a few moments ago. Olorenshaw to Tarrant to Williams. Williams puts it out in front. Chance here for Collingwood. But Brisbane get back in numbers, and front and square is Ackermanis. He'll take a free kick.
He's a good player, isn't he, Ackermanis?
Look at the change of direction on the outer side. You've got Kennedy, Power, also Lepic ran extremely hard to space. This is where they set up. Collingwood, in the terms of discipline, have got a man up far quickly. Brad Scott's on in centre field now,
look at that
totally
kick.
by himself.
60-metre kick that found him by Kennedy. Now he can come back inside to Notting. Notting whips around onto his right foot and brings it into half forward. Richardson at the back thumps it towards the boundary line. Lockyer and Power. Back it comes to Brad Scott, who hooks it up in the air. Clark waits underneath it. Thumped away by Tarrant. Mel Michael gets it to Freeborn. Centre wing is Buckley. Buckley swings onto the left. A low trajectory kick. He tried to put it out in front of Brown, who's had a quiet game. Here's Scott Crow. Ackermanis.
Good play.
Oh, yes, that was very, very good play. Here's a good chance. Brown flips it over his head. Burns caught. That strong Brisbane defence off the ground by Sean Hart. Centre wing is Buckley. He's caught. Gets in the hand pass. Michael. Tarrant. Tarrant brings it to half forward. White was the flyer. Still a loose ball at halfback. Rocker flips it out. Oh, he's lost it to Power. And Power chips it across to Ashcroft.
Marcus Ashcroft in between halfback and centre wing. 10 goals 8 to 3 goals 3. So Collingwood haven't scored in this quarter, and Brisbane have added 2 goals 2.
Free kick to Scotland. Umpire deemed he was pushed in the back. Good decision.
Heath Scotland, a first-year player, playing his 12th AFL game. And White, just an easy mark overhead. He makes everything look easy.
But he never takes 2 bites of the cherry, does he? Always a 1 grab.
Lawrence, this is great system that Brisbane used coming out of defence. Lawrence up towards centre wing and the ball out of bounds. It seems as though they'll go wide, and if they're not picked up by their opponents, the kick will go that way. If they are picked up by their opponents, there's a second wave of players coming from behind them that can go in the centre corridor.
Yeah, that's what they try to do, try to create run from behind, and they're very disciplined in doing that.
Centre wing. Burns tried to get his boot to it. Buckley, good handball under enormous pressure. Ola Renshaw. Oh, look at that. Fantastic by White. Brad Scott tried to flick it on. Hart. Now they've got the loose man going. This is Ashcroft. That was a clever kick. Leppich, clever little knock on. Steve Lawrence looks up. He can chip it across, or he can have a shot for goal. He runs to 50. He sets sail for the goal square. Lynch in front. Free kick to Lynch. Holding, no, the other way against Lynch. And it'll go to Preston Giacomo. Lynch not arguing, so he obviously got rid of, this is a dangerous kick across the ground, but Tarrant gets away from Clark and marks. This Tarrant getting a bit of a run around at the moment by Tony Shaw, letting him get plenty of the ball. Huskus in front, Buckley flies. Brown tried to flick it out. Buckley was looking for someone running past. There was no one there, and the hand pass floats over the line.
And what's actually happening, Pete? Rocker's gone back to full forward. Mark Richardson is used now as a tall defender on Jared Malloy. Chris Tarrant's basically the ruck rover type, matched up against Matthew Clark.
Ball back out of play. Collingwood haven't moved in this quarter. They are scoreless.
And just due to matchups, interesting also to see that Leppich is playing basically on centre wing against Tyson Lane as Lambert warms up the interchange bench. He'll replace somebody in a minute.
Paul Williams throws the ball on the right boot. The kick to centre wing. Gavin Brown didn't complete the mark, and the ball's out of play. Brownie thinks it's his, but he can't get. That's no mark.
That's a bit of grandstanding. I think he knew he wasn't paid it.
48-point lead to Brisbane, and pretty comfortable now. Tarrant does well for Collingwood, comes to White. Somehow he gets boot the ball. Lappin. Crow comes back, takes it away. Well done by Scott Crow. Back to a contest. Scott and Buckley, the 2 5s. Lawrence at the back, terrific hand pass. Ashcroft. Michael, good mark.
Scott Crow off again for Collingwood, and Andrew Shaw will coming back on.
Thanks, Ozzy. Oh, courage needed by Paul Williams then. And he got the mark. That was a very, very good mark under enormous pressure. Nothing really happening on the scoreboard at the moment. Let's see what the Magpies can do. Oh, Rocker shoved his opponent Kennedy out of it. There's Clark kicking wide to Lappin. Orchard is there. Orchard had the pace to get to that contest. He's the quickest player in the Collingwood side without a doubt. To half forward and Patterson. But look at that enormous pressure and over the line again for throwing.
And Pete, what he's doing is what you've made famous. He's having a red hot go. Orchard.
Yes, he does have a go, Mark Orchard. Played with the Swans. He was used as a tagger up there. But he had a good season with them in his final season there. Lane gets it to Williams. In towards half forward. As you can see, nothing happening on the scoreboard. Again, that was Lawrence. He gained about 40 metres round the boundary line for another throw. So this quarter's been pretty ordinary as Craig Lambert comes back on.
Yeah, well, it's just been a quarter of toing and froing. No side has really gained any ascendancy whatsoever in this term. I think one thing that's surely evident, the skill level, even though they're in bad conditions, from the Brisbane team is far superior to Collingwood. Too many Collingwood players under no pressure are turning the ball over.
That's a good effort by Gavin Brown, the veteran. From in between wing and half forward, in short to Burns. Still only at half forward. Burns half-distance pass, chopped off by Lappin. It was aimed for Williams, but just a skill error, and it might cost him a goal. Here goes Darryl White, loping down the outer side. Pops it up high, leaping Lepic. Didn't get to the contest. At the front of the pack, McRae, who's been magnificent from few opportunities, and that's just offline for a behind. And Craig McRae has kicked 4 goals, 1.
And Mick, there's no doubt, as you said, that the Brisbane Lions have got the superior skill level, but one thing that has shown out for Collingwood Football Club today is that Nathan Buckley's skill level, and it is far and above, a great deal better than any player on his side.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. You look around the ground, Aussie, and to make mirror to that point, he's working extremely hard trying to lift his teammate. Even now he's pushed a half forward, probably to give him a rest, because he's worked extremely hard, not only to win it, but also try to defend and try to encourage his teammates to lift to the intensity he no doubt he tries to offer.
Paul Williams driving a long kick. Look at Lawrence. Back he goes. He has been terrific, Stephen Lawrence. Over to Huskers, and again they run. White, this is the guy that I believe could win them a premiership. There's loose men everywhere. He's gone wide. I'm mentioning White. He has got single-handedly, if he had a real on day one day, he could win them a flag. Ashcroft's kick was magnificent to Lepic. He must be enjoying this up the ground. He kicks long and wide and sneaks it in for a behind.
And Ozzy, you've played with the majority of these young players. Obviously the downside is that their inability to man up, especially when the opposition win the ball from a turnover. They've got to defend quickly and get back on their direct opponents.
Yeah, you're right there, Mick. And the other thing that I feel, I suppose, is a worry for Collingwood is the fact that they've been down in the ladder the last couple of years. The younger boys are just being progressed through the ranks in a sort of negative sort of environment. So it's important for the club in general to get up the ladder, not just for the sponsors, but also for the progression of the young blokes.
Relayed free up the ground against Alistair Lynch, and that's a terrific mark by Rupert Batheris. First-year player of a reasonably mature age has come in and played lots of games this year for Collingwood. The ball knocked up the ground. Ashcroft is there. He's got runners going past. Scott off the left, wide, well-delivered kick, and the mark taken by Notting. Notting plays on. Lynch and Lawrence there. Siren beats them, and there'll be no more scoring. Hardly any scoring in that quarter. Not much happened at all. They kicked 2 goals, 5 in that quarter, Brisbane, to Collingwood, who were scoreless. And it pretty much wraps up the wood. Well, it does wrap up the wooden spoon for Collingwood for only the second time in their history. The last one in 1976, but well, Tom Hafey joined the club and they went from last to a grand final. Somebody will join the club next year, and hopefully they'll be able to drag them up by the bootstraps as well.
All he can ask for is pride now, Drew.
So at three-quarter time, Lee Matthews comfortable, 10-11 to 3 goals 3.
Last night's $1 million blaze. Magpie fans bid a sad final farewell to Victoria Park after 107 seasons. Election Day 4 and Steve Bracks revs up his campaign while the Premier focuses on gambling. And tensions running high in East.
High one to half forward. Can Craig Clark get there? Couldn't. Taken by Stringer.
Giorgio, just 2 handballs.
The problem is, she's giving me always here, mate.
But what happens now?
Hilarious though, wasn't it? I saw he must have been drunk or something.
I've never seen anyone do an old lady like that.
What happens now?
It's one of those funny you'll be right, just go up and wait for a bit. Anyway, as I was saying, she tells Mum about all the things that I've been getting up.
Nobody becomes a school driver overnight, so play it extra safe. Otherwise, you never stop learning.
If you call 1300-361-833 now, you could join one of the world's most prestigious footy clubs and get a seat that's reserved for you for up to 25 years. With immediate AFL membership, free admission to approximately 70 AFL games.
Ricochet, Dennis Knight, here's the left foot, chance, feeds it out. The left footer, Damon Shaw. Oh, Mr. An easy one. 2 behinds to Damon Shaw.
Time at Victoria Park, and it's all over for the Pies. Brisbane lead 10-11-71 to Collingwood, 3 goals 3-21. Do you want to be at the grand final tossing the coin?
$2 could make this possible. Entry coupons are available at Australia Post and Rotary Clubs or by calling 1900 969 666 for credit card purchases. As well as tossing the coin, you and a friend will watch the grand final in style, attend a grand final brunch and keep the $10,000 specially minted gold coin. Plus a corporate package for two to the 1999 BMW Cox Plate at Moonee Valley in October. Proceeds benefit Australian Rotary and the Olympic Games team.
Three-quarter time, or not quite three-quarter time. Western Bulldogs against Port Adelaide. 13-7, 85 to Port, 7-10, 52. And Essendon and Melbourne, just across town at the MCG. The Bombers have come back, and Melbourne, who had a big lead early, now trail by a point. Essendon 12-12 to Melbourne 13 goals 5. Now, any game of AFL football that you want to see on tape at home, just dial 1800 035 665. Name the game and it's yours for under $30. Now, Collingwood have been changing their Guernseys after every change. And it's not a bad marketing ploy because they're going to be able to sell the jumpers, but not just 22 of them after this historic game, but 88 of them. But I don't know whether the jumpers will be worth as much today after this sort of flogging as if they'd won. Richard Osborne.
Well, Drew, there's no doubt about Tony Shaw. He's going down fighting. He said this game's still there to be won. He said Brisbane Lions, all they've got to play for is the finals. They're going to just sit back, and he just believes that they're there to be got. He's implored them to play on the outer wing. It's a lot drier out there. A lot of handballs, just direct the goal, boys. Got nothing to lose. Last 30 minutes at Victoria Park.
So we get underway for the final quarter at this famous old ground, over a century old. But Ashcroft gets it away for the Lions. Away to Chris Scott. Long ball to the 50. Malloy caught behind, which worked to his advantage. He wins a possession, keeps it in. Malloy still going. You wouldn't underestimate him. He kicked a great goal earlier on. It's still there for the Lions in front of the Social Club. The umpires are letting things go a long, long time. And eventually Shaw will burst clear to Burns. Over the top he comes with his hand pass. To Lockyer, back to Burns. Collingwood off and running. Good stuff. Williams, good kick to Crow.
Scotty Crow way out over centre half forward. He's going to bring it back towards the pocket. Anthony Rocker should mark. And he does. Out position leverage. Very good effort by Rocker.
Yeah, once again set up by Scott Burns. He's been very good since quarter time. Rocker took the centre bounce, then pushed forward. Done that on numerous occasions this year. Lepage had to pick him up in the flow of play. One front position, good body work to take a very good mark. Now he's got the opportunity to launch Collingwood back into this contest by kicking straight and giving them an opportunity to gain some momentum for the first time in the game.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Collingwood come home with a bit of a rush in this term. He's kicking for his second, right through the middle.
Hi, darling. What's happened over there in the last couple of days?
Towards 3, Guy Rigoni and Matthew.
$3 easy STD is not...
Well, Anthony Rocker kicked Collingwood's first goal in the first quarter, and he's added a goal in the last. They were scoreless in the third. Will that give them a fillip? Back in the middle, Rocker in the ruck against Keating, who's beaten them all today. Down to Lockyer. To half forward, Crow working Lawrence, tunnels it out, Lepage, chopped off Buckley, very high, Tarrant in the middle of the pack, Huskus, good trap.
Magnificent contest there by Gavin Brown. No doubt the Collingwood supporters in the outer rise to their feet and applaud the ex-captain. They've seen it on a number of occasions. Brown dive in head first at that loose footy.
Well, he was the human torpedo before Thorpe came along. Williams, Rocker outnumbered. Brown front of the pack, goes past him. Lucuria worked off the ball by Lawrence. It was an absolute phenomenon. Strong. Chris Scott, a bit of a fumble. He might have taken his eyes off that. Williams, Buckley buried. Brad Scott to Chris, the two twins combining. Up towards centre wing, Lappin, and a two-fister by Scotland.
The Collingwood bench, Aussie.
Yeah, Patterson, Oller Shaw, Batheris, and my good mate Gavin Krasicki, who's in a tracksuit and will not play any further part in this game. And the Brisbane Lions, Johnson, Voss, Clark and Simon Black.
Thank you, Richard, as Keating's back doing the ruck work there. Oh, Ackermanis dodging, weaving. Gets his hand pass in, back it goes to Chris Scott. They've always got numbers round the ball. Lambert, he headed for the boundary line then. In fact, he went too wide and out on the full.
If that's one negative in Lambert's game, that's his ball delivery by foot. Magnificent in close with his hands, but he just probably needs some match time, some ground time to get his legs into a fitness capacity that he can use the footy.
Well, Shawble went to Burns, the crowd calling for him to go back to Shawble, which he does. He can go over the top here. Brisbane getting numbers back. And Shawble, a low trajectory kick. Buckley flies, ball flicks off hands. Laura, she's a good little defender. He handballs wide. And that stayed. No, did it? Yes, it's still in place. And oh, what a great smother by Malloy. Eustace originally kept it in. He's caked in mud. Look at that.
I think he realised that he made a mistake by keeping the footy alive. Had to play the percentage that go across the boundary line, but magnificent smother there by Malloy. Once again, Pete, numbers at the ball.
It was terrific. Eustace worked so hard to keep it in, and then Malloy had to work like an absolute demon to get it out about a second later. Oh, power. That's discipline to the top of the goal square. Lynch, he's got Lepich, he's got the Eustace going past. Lynch with strength, somehow got his hands free. And here's a chance. Is this kid any good? He does well nodding towards the goal square. It's up for grabs. That might have been a trip by hand. And it'll be a Collingwood free kick. They've worked it out pretty well. Tarkin Lockyer up towards centre wing. Who'd he kick that to? Well, he was knocked down after he kicked it. So it'll be a relayed free to be taken by Richardson.
Yeah, Luck's a fortune. Didn't really kick it with any purpose to find a teammate. An indiscretion from the Brisbane Lions chaser gave the free kick down the field.
Ackermanis had the pace to get there on Tyson Lane and punch it over. And look, there's no substitute for pace because it gets you to a contest to spoil.
Yeah, they're a very quick team, well balanced across the field. I think today, Pete, when the loose balls had to be won, it's been the bodies of the Brisbane Lion team that are going through the line of the ball that little bit harder, gaining momentum. There's another example there. They've just got that urgency to compete. Good sides do that on a consistent basis.
That was Lambert to Chris Scott. Lawrence has had a butler of a game. And look at that kick. Beautiful kick to Sean Hart. He's going to bomb it in towards half forward. Lynch in front. Great attempt. Couldn't mark though. Prestigiacomo had it taken away by Notting. Notting's going to centre that ball. That's obviously a team rule. You must try and centre it from the boundary line. And Freeborn taps it over the line.
I think it just gives your forwards an area to run to, knowing that the ball will be delivered. It's a responsibility for the player with possession to be aware of where he is. He knows that he's going to kick the ball to the top of the square. The forwards know where they've got to get to. It just creates opportunities.
Keating's played a magnificent game for Brisbane. And he might take a free kick here right in front. Well, not quite right in front, but he's very close to goal.
Yeah, well, it's just a little bit disheartening from Collingwood's point of view. And there's the biggest player on the ground. It's an undisciplined free kick there by Scotland, throwing Keating off the line of the footy as the Collingwood crowd are starting to get involved in this contest with their voice, booing the umpire for that decision. But this is a difficult shot on goal from Keating. Tall player, has worked hard, tirelessly all day. Hard shot from that part of the ground, has got the shelter of the Sharon stand, has to kick it flat and hard directly at the middle of the goals from this part of the ground.
Yes, crossed the face of goal and out of bounds. No, through for a minor score. Interesting to see there. Keating recruited from Surfers Paradise, and you realise how cold would he be feeling here today?
That's why he's got that long sleeve on, I think, Drew. But no, he's been a tireless worker today.
Drew would like to be recruited to Surfers Paradise, wouldn't you, mate?
Oh, it wouldn't be a bad spot.
Well, we used to go there with Channel 7 to Carrara days and watch the original Brisbane Bears, Drew. Now there's Burns to Williams. Williams will drive it long and wide. Rocker! No mark. Lepich. Ooh, was that deliberate? No.
Ozzy, question for you. You talked about your mate Gav Grisiska. sitting it out for the last quarter of the last game this year. Is he going to go on? Have we seen the end of him?
Well, it's funny you say that. I asked him that question last night when we spoke on the phone, and obviously with the change of coach, it's really up to the new coach, I'd suggest, but Gavin does want to go on.
Well, it's in the forward pocket with Lucuria. Here's Buckley, with support from Brown. Brown back to Nick Davis, whose dad played here with distinction. Tarrant, Rocker. Rocker tried to thump it on. Well played, Buckley, a great pick-up. And we talked about his skill level, and sure is very, very high.
I think the downside of Collingwood's situation at the time also, Ozzy, is that if Gavin Brown, Gav Krasiska and Damien Monkhurst don't decide to continue on next year, all of a sudden they lose 700 games in experience or close to it. Enormous void to fill.
Yeah, that's for sure, Mick. And that happened last year with the retirement of Graham Wright and Tony Francis and Scott Russell moving clubs. Use one thing, but you need to have that blended experience as well.
Burns floats a hand pass. Williams goes through with his elbow up. Lockyer's kick is smothered. So Brisbane still competing for everything, even though they lead by plenty here, 72 to 27. Comes out to Chris Scott. Kick by Scott. Malloy with strength works his opponent off the ball. Jawball. And Malloy marks. Lynch leads. The kick out in front of him. Beautiful!
Keating's on in the goal square too, Drew. If Lynch gets up quickly, he should outmark Glenn Freeborn.
Not going for the score, going for the top of the goal square. Keating juggles, can't mark. Here's the bloke who's kicked goals in front of pack. Oh, McRae, luckily to Hart, and Hart gets the goal.
On Sunday. And catch up on the news front.
Well, they're proving themselves, as Mickey McGuan said, one of the premiership favourites. Certainly, well, they and Essendon would be the two form sides in the competition, as you see Lockyer going forward. Scotty Crow. Well, look at the numbers round the ball again. Akamanis. He was looking towards Keating. Keating very mobile for a big bloke. Lane went past the ball, and players dive in on top of it. Well, it's all this. Oh, they eventually get it out too easily. Ashcroft in towards half forward. Lynch went past it. So did Prestigiacomo. Power off the ground. Oh, don't tell me he's going to kick it. No. Orchard gets back and helps it over the line.
And boys, another pleasing thing for all Brisbane Lions fans would be the obvious fantastic form of Alistair Lynch today. It's been well documented, his chronic fatigue syndrome, but today it looks like from where I'm sitting, it's the old Alistair Lynch. He's looking $1 million.
And no Voss and no Black from half-time, Aussie.
Well, you know, that's an extra bonus. They get those guys back on the ground, and as you said, they'd have to be one of the premiership favourites.
Look at that punch by Chris Scott. Worth a kick. Malloy sets up for goal and kicks a goal. Fantastic, Chris Scott.
Now Mitsubishi has developed Mitsubishi.
Well, we saw a goal kick by Jared Malloy after a 40-metre punch by Chris Scott. That was fantastic. Lockyer or De Williams, he was caught. Lappin gets it across to Chris Scott. Up in the air, Keating wait. Oh, what a good mark with a slippery ball. Keating, is he a good player? He was looking for Malloy. Here's Lynch working hard, as Ozzy said. Great play, Alistair Lynch. Tried to get his hand pass to it. Umpire has pinged him for holding the ball.
Yeah, good decision. Good tackle there by Burns. Burns has been a terrific competitor today. He's tried to lift his teammates, worked hard in midfield since he went to that part of the ground, tried to win first access to the footy.
Towards centre wing, Leppich works towards the line, and Mick, I suppose a great incentive for. Let's have a look at Keating's mark again. Chris Scott hated himself for his kick, which just went up in the air, and Keating was camped underneath it for what seemed like half an hour. Took a terrific mark. Great courage. But the incentive for Brisbane here, when you consider that people of the calibre of Michael Voss off the ground, with a finals campaign coming up, this is such an even squad. You want to make sure you get in the 22, because these blokes could be premiership players. You don't want to be getting dropped at this stage.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. You are playing for your spot in the team, and that creates a terrific morale within the club. And Brisbane, because they've been so good this year, no one who's represented the club this year at senior level would like to be replaced at this time of the year.
Oh, well done again by Notting. Wide to Brad Scott. Lynch over the shoulder. Clever. Oh, just offline.
Turns quick for a big man. Slippery underfoot. but he has found front position
every time
today. He's worked hard to find it. He's got off his opponent in Presta Giacomo on a number of occasions. That would please Coach Lee Matthews, who we just saw on screen. But Collingwood, from their point of view, they just have to play the game out. They've got to be really hard at the contest, continue to play with a lot of dignity and honour, as the players beforehand have done.
Well, I feel sorry for the crowd, because Collingwood really given them nothing today, as we see Burns go forward. Oh, courage by Eustace. Gee, this is a good back line, and they're exciting. They peel off and they run. There's Kennedy, who's a booming kick. He kicks to a contest, Freeborn and Power. Freeborn did pretty well in the ex-North Melbourne player. On to Scotty Crowe. Here's Rocker. He'll mark. And this could be 50. I reckon the umpire's going to ping him for 50 here. He is.
Undisciplined.
Well, it was unnecessary. It's silly, because he mightn't have kicked it from there, Mick.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that now. It's a gimme goal. And I just wouldn't be surprised to see if Lee Matthews decide to bring him off the ground, have a talk to him, and say, irrespective of the scoreboard, to give away 50-metre penalties.
Yeah, you're right, I think, Mick, as Rocker kicks his third.
Get out of the action. Back goes forward. Well protected by Sheehan. Good teamwork. Kynan forward. Mullane up and under. Misjudging it. Damien Carroll.
Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment.
Well, everything here today has been fantastic for Collingwood. The marketing, the promotion. We had a wedding at half-time, a luncheon that started at about 10 o'clock. All the great players of the past were honoured before the game, and everything went great until this game started. And the senior side has let them down. They're going to finish up with a very demoralising loss and wooden spoon.
And Anthony Rocker looks like he's hurt his right shoulder fairly badly. He's just holding it in the middle of the ground. The Collingwood runners out there talking to him now. The doctor's running out and used to see how he is.
Yeah, that doesn't look too good. Power comes in. Doc Clark, centre circle, moving forward. Long to Lynch. Malloy, there's a wrestle going on between, I'm not sure how you can say that Lynch was at fault more than Shawble, but he's given the free kick to Shawble.
Well, Lynch was in front too, wasn't he?
And so Rocker working on that shoulder in the just off the play. Here's Tarrant.
Chris Tarrant. Got a running player in Freeborn. Freeborn can chip it further field. Another loose player. This is Scotty Crowe. Crowe in towards Rocker. Rocker pushed out, pushing the back, said the umpire on Lepage. Lepage was pushed out of the contest when before the ball was within 5 metres. And the young girl saw herself on the screen abusing the umpire, and she quickly stopped. Here's Lawrence, who's been one of the best players on the ground, in my opinion. His dad, Barry, would be pretty proud of what he's seeing at his football at the moment. Kennedy couldn't quite mark the finger tipper. And over the line, and Kennedy gets the raspberry from the Collingwood folk. Let's watch his push.
Yeah, I don't know whether there was much in that. The ball was in the 5 metre range. I thought he just out-positioned himself, or him against his opponent in Lepage. Wasn't in the back.
Here's Gavin Brown at left half forward, delaying and then kicking it inside the 50. Burns in front, Hart for the Lions. Lepage, good combination. Lawrence, what a back six they've had all season. Orchard in a bit of trouble. He's lost it. Ashcroft has lost it. It was a throw. It was going to be a Collingwood free. Advantage to Williams. Burns unmarked and only 30 metres from goal.
And Drew, very good discipline play there by Paul Williams in the situation with the team that were down by so much. He could have quite easily just blazed away, but no. Took the sensible option, the discipline option, short to Scotty Burns.
Yeah, good point, Aussie. It's quite easy to cover yourself in glory at times like this. A good tackle there by Scott Crowe. Great pressure on Ashcroft. Advantage rule was given. Williams looked up, saw Burns run into space and gave it to him on his chest.
And Burns has kicked the goal.
That O'Brien, Shaw and Dowsett on the interchange last
happens, and you get a second chance.
Calling my wife a hooker.
It's the second coming of Rex, Wednesday on 7.
Well, this brings back memories when Des Tuddenham in 72 came back as captain coach of Essendon. They set fire to the streamers, but they look more like flares or something down there behind the goals. There's Buckley. Let's get back to the action. Tarrant is marked. Let's see if the Magpies in the last 8 minutes can come home with a flurry of goals. He kicks wide. He's looking here for Burns again. He's got him.
I reckon he's been Collingwood's best player. He's worked tirelessly. He's won the footy. He's had a lot of the ball since quarter time. Have a look at his statistics. He had 4 possessions in the first quarter, 6 in the second, 3 in the third, and this will be his 10th possession in the last quarter. So he's worked exceptionally hard for the duration of the game.
Scotty Burns for his second in 2 minutes. That's not a bad kick. That's a beautiful looking kick. It's a goal. So Scott Burns, not noted as a goal kicker, he's more of a down defender or midfielder. Has kicked 2 goals, and the Magpie faithful all of a sudden have got something to shout for.
Yeah, the voice there from the supporters getting involved. But that is a great kick from that pocket by Scott Burns, and that's the reason why he's such a respected player, not only internally but also externally, because he commits himself. Had another limited preparation this year due to injury, but he is such a competitor. He gives his heart and soul for the play, to his teammates, and also for the club he represents.
Well, Collingwood had managed just 3 goals to three-quarter time. They've kicked 4 in this last quarter, and the crowd are starting to find a little bit of voice. They're getting a bit of football out of the middle. Here's Lockyer, up towards Rocker. Yes! Mark Payne!
Yep, paid by Peter Keary. Now Rocker should go back, and his body language should say, OK, let's go back, kick the distance. I know I will. Let's go back, aim for that right-hand goalpost, let the ball come back, because I'll certainly get the trim. Underkicked it.
Well right, edge of the goal square, and punched through for a rush behind by the defenders.
Andrew, as that happened, Chris Johnson back on the ground for the Lions, and Marcus Ashcroft replaced.
And Ashcroft has been a good player again today, Aussie. He's had 24 possessions, no doubt just resting the midfield group. No Black, no Voss, no Ashcroft for the last 5 or 6 minutes of play. Which goes to show that Matthews is changing his players over in that part of the ground.
Lappin gets it back to his teammate there, Leppich, who did all the running initially. Here's Orchard. He's got enormous pace. That's why he's on McRae. He's pretty nippy himself. Mel Michael, Andrew Shawball. All of a sudden, Brisbane starting to work a little bit harder. Orchard gets it to Michael. Is marked. He gives it off to Williams. Can they get another one? He ran into all sorts of trouble. Here's Sean Hart and Matthew Clark. Brad Scott. He's way out on centre wing. He kicks long. He's looking in the direction of Lynch. Lynch has got a couple to beat. Shawball punches at the ground. Off the ground by Scotland. Was that in the full? No. Throw in half forward for Brisbane.
Paul Williams tried to select the second option. Your first option's the best one. Should have kicked it originally when the quick hands was given by Buckley. Ran into a great tackle from the Brisbane Lions player. Turned the footy over.
Here come the Lions. Up towards the edge of the goal square. The kick coming in from Malloy. Lynch been really good. Flips the ball back for power.
Looked like a throw.
Concede some ground. Brad Scott. And Scott only 40 metres out from goal. Breeze across him from there. And that hasn't proved any gimme range today. 5.5 minutes remaining for Victoria Park as an AFL venue and for Tony Shaw as an AFL coach. But boy, is there plenty to look forward to for the Brisbane Lions.
And he's done a very good job since coming on the ground playing on Buckley. Nullified Buckley's influence. Buckley had a terrific first half. In the second half, he's been relatively quiet. Scott's beat his opponent.
Kick by Scott, hasn't made it, and they've rushed it through.
When you get players at this time of the year with the ability and the discipline and the hardness of approach of Brad Scott, obviously it just goes to show the depth of the Brisbane Lions. And there's no doubt, come the last week of September, the way they're playing now, they could possibly be there.
Scotland brings it into Michael, who marks at half back. He's trying to play on, and he succeeds. He kicks wide. Lawrence. Well, he got front position again. Well played. Patheris and Ackermanis. Ackermanis, geez, a good player now. I reckon he'll be All-Australian at the end of the year. Ackermanis is certainly, which we see Power go forward to Johnson. Johnson gives it off to McRae, who's kicked 4 goals. He sets it up for Malloy. Malloy at the back. No mark. His opponent, Prestigiacomo, heads for the boundary line. It's wobbling and out in front of the Collingwood Social Club.
Yeah, good centering kick once again by McRae, I think it was. And kicked the footy to the advantage of Malloy. Just unfortunate from his point of view. He didn't cleanly mark the ball.
Kicked by Lockyer. And Kennedy has been part of that great defence this year. Best defence in the league and the highest scoring attack in the league. So it's a combination that's going to prove pretty difficult, not only for Collingwood, who are at the bottom of the ladder. Oh, White!
Geez, a good mark. He's the best one-grab mark in the competition, in my book.
Darryl White into the hole, which is closed up by Heath Scotland, who takes the mark back near the back pocket. But Brisbane, far too good for Collingwood today. But, gee, they might be too good for the teams up in the top 8 during the finals. Freeborn went a long way. Scotland.
Well, Scotland coming straight down the middle of the ground with a low trajectory kick. He's looking for Tarrant. It bounces off his chest. Williams went at it. Here's Lacuria. Lepich and Rocker. Lepich in front, went for the double-fisted punch, then tapped it back because he thought White was waiting for it. Rocker to Brown, an up and under kick. Eustace back with the flight of the ball. Burns, can he get another one? Gives it to Scott Crow. It's another goal to the Magpies. They're working hard.
Players Association Awards with the most valuable player, best captain and the All-Australian team. Channel 7 Monday 9:30.
Well, Collingwood easily their best quarter. It's the only quarter they've won this last term, and they've kicked 5 goals in the last quarter, 5 goals to 2. Brad Scott for the Lions, inside 50. Oh, good mark. Magnificent mark taken by Orchard.
I think there's an example of, from a coach's point of view, you'd love to get your matchups right. Collingwood started the game with Tyson Lane on McRae, then Burns moved to McRae. Maybe Orchard, in retrospect, could have been that ideal opponent. Similar size, matched up with the same speed.
Here's Nick Davis up towards centre wing to Mal Michael. Collingwood looking a lot freer now. Gavin Brown. Maybe the Lions have taken their foot off the accelerator just a little bit. Prestigiacomo, but Collingwood finishing well. Presti's kick is smothered. Michael in after it. Ball flipped back by Kennedy. Oh, terrific stuff by Notting. He is a player.
Notting. Buckley might have given a free kick away here. Advantage paid. The umpire did pay it. Here's Power running into goal. He might open up the goals here. Keeps it low. And he's kicked a clever little goal. Luke Power. Yes, that was great play, starting way out on the wing, Mick, and that was a sign of a good play the way he finished off then.
Yeah, I think it was just all due to that tap back there by Kennedy into the path of Notting, open up the play, kept the footy alive because numbers certainly favoured the Brisbane Lions team. There's a free kick against Freeborn on Lynch. But once again, numbers at the ground level ball were there from Brisbane's point of view. Power swooped onto it and ran into an open goal, kicked it along the ground. Very smart play from a good young player for the Brisbane team.
Well, the fans have been told there'll be no coming onto the ground after the final siren, which is only a couple of minutes away. The ground ringed by police and security staff. And there's been a few fears that people might go mad and take a few too many souvenirs, and people will be checked on their way out of the ground. It comes to Sean Hart, front of the pack. Up towards full forward. Well done, Alistair Lynch. Starring roll by Lynch.
Yeah, front position. Percentages say wet footy, late in the game. It'll drop short. Lynch worked his way around the body of Schwarble, his opponent, to take a very good contested mark. No doubt today's performance would satisfy Coach Lee Matthews.
So Alistair Lynch lining up for his 5th goal. And there'll be more activities on the ground after the full-time siren. I don't know what they'll mean to Collingwood fans after the Pies have lost the game. Lynch for his 5th. And there's something to yell about for the Collingwood fans. He hooked it. to give it to the opposition right to the end, even though you're dead and buried.
I know no forward likes to miss them from directly in front. He won't like that, but 13-16 to 8-4. It really has been a bit of a shellacking. At least Collingwood is coming home pretty well. Here's Prestigiacomo. That handball was intercepted. Williams, Buckley, an up and under kick. Eustace lurks at the back. Oh, yeah. But that's soft free kick, wasn't it, Drew?
Go back to midfield. There's an example of Collingwood's decision-making. Prestigiacomo hit to the voice of Buckley, not knowing with the awareness of what was going around him, created the turnover.
Well, they did that well. Lappin intercepted well then. Free kick to Darryl White against Crow. Lawrence gets it back right now. There's 25 seconds of football left at Victoria Park ever. And so I think we'll count it down, Drew.
And the call's coming from one of the greats, Peter McKenna.
Thank you, Drew, as we see the mark taken for Brisbane on centre wing by Hart, Sean Hart. He kicks it in to Notting. The time clock ticking down on Victoria Park. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. The siren about to go, and that's it. The end of football at Victoria Park, and what a sad day, Mickey McGuan. And it will be a sad day for all the players, all the past players, and all the crowd and all the supporters.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The farewell game from Victoria Park. A lot of emotion, a lot of hype leading into this game. But I think in the end we've witnessed a very good team, and one of the best players on the ground today. Down to you, Aussie, with Alistair Lynch.
Well, Lynch, you played your 200th last week, but today, from where I was sitting, it looked like you were just moving that much better. I know you've had the chronic fatigue syndrome, but it looked like the Alistair Lynch of old. How'd you feel?
Yeah, not too bad, Aussie. Starting to move better, and spent the whole game at full forward, so it was good time to settle in and pump some leads out.
Now, we've both played here together as opposition coming to Victoria Park. It's a daunting task. How did you feel, the team in general?
Oh, I think we obviously dropped the one in the end, but to play at Vic Park, amazing atmosphere. It's obviously one-eyed Collingwood, and it was great to have the little pockets of support for the Lions, but amazing ground to play.
And that back six for the Brisbane Lions, they are sensational, aren't they, Lynchy?
There's about 7 or 8 of them that float through the back line and spend most of the time in the forward 50, actually, but they're playing really well, and they just give us that rock-solid base to work on.
Well, the boys are in great form. Good luck for September, mate.
Thanks, mate. You haven't got any kicking tips for me?
No, just shut your eyes and hope, mate.
All right.
Good boy.
Thanks, Richard Osborne. So a 42-point win to Brisbane, who finished the home and away season with 8 on the trot. Their first ever win at Victoria Park. The final score, 13-16-94 to Collingwood, 8-4-52.
Tell them that they were in the game and they lost.
So the final score here at Victoria Park, Brisbane, well, they rained on Collingwood's party today and finished the home and away season with 8 wins straight, a club record, 13-16-94 to Collingwood, 8 goals for 52. And the goal kickers, McRae and Lynch got 4 each, Malloy kicked 2, Anthony Rocker kicked 3 for Collingwood, Scott Burns got 2.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next.
It's for the Collingwood legends out in the middle of the ground. Let's join Eddie. They are lowering the Collingwood flag here at the ground, in between the Sharon stand and the Bob Rose stand for the last time.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, members of the Australian Army have the Collingwood flag. They will bring it down onto the ground and present it to the current captain, of course, Nathan Buckley. And the oldest living premiership captain, one of the greats, Lou Richards. They will then present the flag to Eddie Maguire for safekeeping until, as Eddie told you, it'll be brought back here to Victoria Park and then ceremonially taken to the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Collingwood will play their games at the MCG, where they have been for the last few years, Mick, and so Victoria Park hasn't been used all that often, just twice this year, but Colonial and the MCG, and really this is another way of finishing suburban football. Over recent years we've lost Arden Street, the Lake Oval, Moorabbin, Windy Hill, and eventually we're really moving into the era of a national competition, and Melbourne very well served by these two magnificent stadiums, Colonial and the MCG.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Drew. Suburban football is well and truly washed away, especially when you see Victoria Park the last day here. An emotional one. It was terrific to be involved here for 11 years or so, playing from the under-19s through to senior footy. To see this scenario happen today it is an exciting one, albeit the scoreboard indicated it wasn't as successful as the Collingwood support would like to have seen. But to credit to the crowd, they've conducted themselves in a very orderly fashion. They got involved in the contest early, full of voice. Due to Brisbane Lions' dominance, they really couldn't get involved that much more. But all in all, I think credit should be said from the top, that being Eddie Maguire and his board. The players done their best. Tony Shaw spoke admirably before the game, and the supporters who've come here to be a part of it today, they've been terrific in their behaviour.
7 years of football history. Regimental Sergeant Major makes his way over to Nathan Buckley and Lou Richards.
And what a host of Collingwood legends await them out in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
President Eddie Maguire.
What an honour for Nathan Buckley to actually carry that flag across to the President and Eddie Maguire. There's Louis Richards, what a stalwart of the club he's been. Look at them great faces in the background. There's Tuddenham there, of course. Jack Kennedy, who's on the board. Kevin Rose, who was president of the footy club. And there's the handing of the flag to Eddie Maguire.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in the year 2000. We'll march from Victoria Park, Jock McHale Stadium, to the Melbourne Cricket Ground and make that our home for the new millennium. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask our past players and our current players to line up from goal square to goal square. And for the last time, I ask all Collingwood supporters to sing our song.
Actually, we might have to wait till next year, because we'll be doing that Ansett Cup game on New Year's Eve at the MCG, Carlton Collingwood.
Yeah, well, that's a valid point too, Drew, but you'll certainly hear the gusto off of the crowd. There's David Cloak, of course, who was a terrific player. Paul Tuddenham's out on the ground, which is great to see. Obviously, his father, Des Tuddenham, Paul had a good career here at Collingwood. There's Gav Krasiska, and you can just look from the eyes of Nathan Buckley to see his team probably being humiliated today, but here's his song.
You can sing along if you like, Mick.
I'd love to, mate. Yeah, no, what a great song it is.
It's an anthem here. It's a song that supporters of other clubs hate to hear, but it's fantastic at Victoria Park. Farewell, Victoria Park. Good old Collingwood forever.
Brisbane, Jared Malloy with 2. For the Pies, Anthony Rocker, the best on field, with 3, and Scott Burns had 2. 42 points the difference. Much tighter match at the MCG. Melbourne really trying very hard for Todd Viney, the retiring captain, but not quite doing enough against Essendon. Stephen Alessio with 4, Matthew Lloyd 3, Dean Wallace 2. David Neitz had 4, David Schwartz and Guy Rigoni 3 each, and Matthew Collins had 2 for the Demons. And the Western Bulldogs ran all over Port Power. Nicky Winmar 4, Paul Hudson had 5, Steve Kolniuk 2, and 3 each to Brett Chalmers, Nathan Eagleton and Bowen Lockwood for Port Power.
Looking at the land, we're looking at the lands. Here we go.
Well, quite a teary farewell to Victoria Park going on here, especially after Collingwood, by losing today, officially get the wooden spoon for only the second time in their history. 13-16 Brisbane, 8 goals for Collingwood. In the other 2 games today, the Western Bulldogs defeated Port Adelaide. What a score, 22-13, 145 to 11-12, 78. And at the MCG, Essendon got over Melbourne after making a slow start. The Bombers 17-14, 116 to Melbourne 15-9, 99. Now let's have a look at the ladder as we're halfway through round 22, the last home and away round. Essendon minor premiers by a mile, Brisbane up to second, but Kangaroos play tomorrow over in Adelaide. Then Dogs, West Coast, Carlton, Port Adelaide, Sydney with still a game in hand, and we go down to Collingwood, and even if Fremantle lose tomorrow, Collingwood will be wooden spooners. Mick, thanks for today.
Magnificent day.
We're shedding a tear, aren't we? Goodbye to you for the final time from Vic Park.
The 1999 AF